Welcome to Champagne Football Lemonade Banter. This season is brought to you by the Lightweight Athletic Club.
Whatever you're watching us on, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Alright, welcome back to the Champagne Football Show. We're joined today by two lads that talk more shite about Australian football than we do, Adamo and Joe. How you doing, lads?
Yeah, very well. Thanks for having me, guys.
Aye, unemployed?
Yeah. Unemployed as of yeah, on my way to Centrelink as we speak, as of Monday. Craziness, but also I'm excited for the next step as well. Yeah. It's a shame. Like I'll tell you boys more off camera because it's so raw. Yeah. It's probably a bit inappropriate for me to go in depth. There are people that more than 100 people that have lost their job, but
this is just in case anyone's listening or watching Optus Sport. This is regarding Optus Sport.
Yes. So I was a presenter and producer at Optus Sport. I worked there for 2.5 years. I was a contractor and then I went full time. I think what's such a shame is that we were really cooking some good things up next season. And we were leaning into telling Australian football stories because the Premier League stories, they're done by Premier League productions. No one's going to do Premier League stories better than the Premier League in England. We started leaning into, I had a show where I was Takes on the Terrace, and the best episodes were ones where we had Milos Ninkovic, Paul Oak on, telling Australian football stories. That's why your podcast is so good. There's a real gap, I think, in the market for it. And we had some great things planned and something that was just out of our control. And yeah, that's, as they say, that's football.
One of the boys was saying that you shat in a kettle or something. That's why you lost your job.
Shat in a kettle? Jeez.
That's what Claude's told Chad.
I was actually backtracking. I'm like, have I done that? No. I have a rule. You never do number twos at work. You never do that's my rule. So that definitely couldn't be me. Claude's a different story, especially because he was always hanging around the fridge, always tucking into the food. So if that was going to be anyone, it would have been Claude. 100%.
Your face there was...
I was really processing that.
Shat in a kettle.
That's funny, man.
Big news. One thing I liked in Optus Sport was he's had like 3 or 4 minute segments on all the nationalities of like the Maltese clubs in Australia and then a Greek one.
That was the best. Yeah, the football belongs. Is that? Unreal.
Really enjoyed that.
So good. They told the team that we had working for us, and I'm not just saying that because I worked there. Like I could say it wholeheartedly. Weapons. Like the cameramen, the editors, like these guys are proper wizards. And a lot of the people that had worked there had come over from Fox when Fox had the Premier League as well. And like these people were gurus. Some of the cameramen I work on that worked on those football belongs, I'd get imposter syndrome being around these people. Like I feel like I'm a confident presenter. I'm definitely not the best, but I feel quite confident in that space. And I try and edit and produce because I don't want to be one of those old school media heads. Those people that sit on the desk and like the prima donnas. You just do this and just edit this. I'm like, how can I tell someone what to do if I don't know how to do it myself?
Yeah,
so I tried to pick up editing and I edit as much as possible. But when I sit next to these people, it's like they're Albert Einstein of editing. These people are like, they're animals and their ability to tell stories and stuff. So that's a shame. Like, who knows where it'll land? I think if Stan is smart, I think I'd be going, let's pick up these Optus people and bring them over. And try and replicate what they had there. Because Stan's got, they've got a bar to reach. Because Australian Premier League fans, they expect the best. Yeah. Particularly when they wake up in the morning, they want their highlights. They want it the second that full-time whistle goes.
They want a mini match, want a small match.
They want it all there, and they want it there, and they want it frame by frame. They want it perfect. They don't want the commentary out of sync. They definitely don't want you missing goals or VAR moments. They want it all there, and Optus had the best team, so that's what makes it such a shame as well.
What about the current? So is it going to finish the current season? As in, like, is it like what I mean by that is like, when does Optus come off the TV, basically? When will we
To be honest, I don't know. Like, we've got an obligation. We've got to do the rest of the Women's Euros. But then I saw that Stan was promoting that they're showing it. So to be honest with you, and I'm not just saying this, I actually have no idea. Like, we have an obligation to do the rest of the tournament, the Women's Euros, and then that's it. I don't know if there's going to be a simulcast situation. I don't know if it's going to be are we pushing people over there? Like, I have no idea. Crazy, but all I know is that Optus with the Premier League is done.
That's mad. So it's all I remember of like Premier League football in Australia is Optus. Like I don't even.
Well, to me that was like, that is a football.
You don't know where it was before.
Yeah,
really?
Well, before it was, it's interesting. It's like, I guess that's just the it's like the food chain. Fox had it.
Yep.
Optus comes in, Telcom, heaps of money, blows Fox out of the water, and I think we as a team. So they had 3 more years left on their current rights cycle, but these things are decided about 18 months before. So if Optus if they were to get outbid, in 18 months, we would have found out. And I think maybe deep down, a couple of people were expecting that was going to happen. The Zone's just purchased Foxtel. They obviously do the Champions League and the Serie A and stuff in Europe. They're cashed up. They do a fantastic job as well. They got the boxing.
That's right.
Yeah, they do, and they're cashed up. And they just bought Foxtel, I think, for $2 billion or something crazy like that.
Is that it?
Nine's got money as well. Like, they're cashed up. So I think if Optus had have been outbid, people would have expected that.
Yeah.
I think everyone was like, look, let's make the most of the rest of the ride.
Yeah.
But the fact that this happened so out of the blue, it was a Financial Review article in January. I remember I was in a group chat. I was in a group chat, get a message from one of my mates, and it was a screenshot of the article. Optus selling the rights? No, it's just rubbish. It's just gossip. Then I get there, meeting. Hey guys, meeting today, and it's not going to be recorded. I'm like, it's actually happening. And then you don't hear anything, and our team had been restructured a little bit, and then a couple brilliant people were made redundant, and it rattled us because it was out of the blue. So naturally, people are upset about that, and then the teams had been restructured, and as I said before, we were really excited. We were planning stuff. Morale was really high, and then this just came out of nowhere. And it came out of nowhere for us. There were people that were on NDAs, and that's how these things work. With deals and stuff like that. We're talking about millions of dollars here, and there's still a lot of the details that I don't know. And that's it. It's a shame because Optus did such a great job, and a lot of the stuff that Optus copped shit. I'm allowed to swear, yeah. A lot of the stuff that a lot of the stuff that Optus copped shit for was totally out of their control. I'd whip up a piece. I'd do a 2-minute piece on an explainer. Let's say I'll pick an example. Messi going to Inter Miami. And I'd make this 2-minute piece, and I put so much effort into it. I post it. First comment, you guys are scum. You raised my bill by $3. I'm like, I've got nothing to do with the phone, bro. Why are you blowing up at me, bro? When the power outage happened, people blowing up Deluxe. They had a right to. But, blowing up Deluxe and commenting on our stuff. It's so a lot of the negative stuff that Optus Sport received had nothing to do with it was out of our control, and that's I think was a lot of people that have that hate Optus Sport. I think it's because of stuff that has nothing to do with Optus Sport. When you actually look at it with a level head, highlights perfect. The mini matches, that was something that Optus Sport invented.
They're brilliant.
Optus Sport invented. Can you believe Optus Sport invented? A guy in my he was my boss. He's a weapon. Invented the mini match. Premier League production, they all started copying it. It's brilliant. Highlights are always perfect. I've done editing shifts. Man, the attention to detail. You're watching the game go, you're editing it. There's someone going up. There's just a slight half a second frame where I can hear the commentator breathing. Got to get rid of that. The attention to detail was so...
How long would it take a game finishes right now, how long does it take that editor to get that game going? For the 3-minute highlights?
For the 3-minute highlights, honestly, within 15 minutes they're up because they're doing them simultaneously, so you get a feed. And I'd done a few editing shifts, so I'm not a seasoned editor by any stretch, but I would always see them and stuff. So they're doing that, and they're simultaneously doing highlights, and they're doing the mini match as well. So that's why on full time, boom, you get those highlights straight away. They're up, the mini match is up. That was always their goal. Got to get the highlights, got to get the mini matches, and it's as Australians we've been spoiled because that's what you've come to expect. You think that's the bar. Then when you see other companies do highlights and they're a disaster, people lose their mind. They go ape shit when they see that.
I watched 2.5 hours.
Or some days, without naming the company that did it, there would be a game the day later. And this is a major tournament, and we're in the knockout stages of this tournament. They posted it the day later. Finals of tournaments, and they're posting it 8 hours, 8 hours later. It's wild. So it's wild that the Optus have set such a high bar and have provided such a good product for customers. So that's why it's a shame. I think it's a sad day. It's natural. I know these things happen. There's always a next big player that comes in and outbids you, and that's how it goes. But I think the fact that this was kind of out of, when I say I mean Optus Sports control, makes it a little bit more hard to take.
100%, mate. As I said, found out this morning. Shocked.
I think everyone was. If you weren't in the loop, it would have been, there were those odd newspaper articles and stuff that came out, but I think the wider football audience had no idea.
100%.
And the sentiment seems to be really positive. People on social media, they're assholes.
They are.
Good riddance. There's a few. You always get it, but I think the sentiment is mostly positive.
As you say, it was done really, really well. And as you take things for granted. So now it'll be interesting to see what kind of level it reaches.
Man, Stan have they've got the bar's been set, and they're gonna have to reach it for sure.
And Joe's here as well, by the way.
Sorry, Joe. I'm so sorry.
How are we, lads? How are we?
Good, mate. Waratah Cup final. We'll go on to that just before we get to the NPL 1 stuff for the weekend.
You'll be down there tonight?
You're down there tonight?
Yeah, I'll be down there with Deploy as a ball partner for it. So, it should be a good game. Spirit against United. They got each other in the cup as well in a couple of weeks.
Tigers
versus United.
What did I say? Spirit. Oh, that's because I'm looking at you. That's Tigers versus United. That'll be a good game. But in the Australia Cup as well, they somehow managed to draw the same game.
Which
is crazy.
But
Why?
Like, just to kind of save money on all
You
parts.
reckon Football Australia does it? You know, they do the old UEFA, like,
Heat
this
the balls
ball is
up.
frozen.
Heat the ball.
That's
I mean,
Apia's the frozen one. You know?
Look at like your Tigers, right? You're buzzing to get to that stage. What are the chances against Sydney United when there could be? And then even like SD Raiders, similar. They've got Bulls, which is a bit different attraction because obviously it's an A-League team. But like,
Do you want just for travel costs?
aye.
But do they cover it?
Yeah, they need to pay. They pay the Football Australia.
Yeah, Football Australia covers the cost for the
thing.
clubs in this stage, yeah.
I
But
don't
then
know.
you've got
I
like
wanna
teams
say
from
no, but,
Newcastle going down to Melbourne as well. So
I know.
Yeah.
I think you get the
Nah, I
A-League
don't think
teams
so.
as
I don't
well.
think
Like,
so. I don't think so. I think it's just...
no, I don't think they do either.
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, it's not big enough. Like, why? For the sake of what? A couple of grand?
Yeah,
Chaz is the football conspiracy theorist.
I'm just trying to start the pot a wee bit. Do you know what I mean?
It's tinfoil.
No, I think we're a good game as well. We spoke about it a little bit last week. So, in terms of you down there tonight, is it just down there promoting Deploy?
Yeah, pretty much. Just capturing content with Deploy, with the ball in action, get the money shot of the
Munich
ball in
ball?
the camera. Pardon?
Munich?
Nah, I'm pretty sure it's the Envision, that gold one over in there.
The gold one?
Yeah,
Class,
yeah,
there you go.
that's the one.
Oh,
But yeah,
good-
just
good-
be them.
That'd be good. I was going to say in terms of the game, Tigers have been probably pushed this year. Everyone's seen they're super fit. So if the game goes to extra time, I feel like Tigers may be the favoured team, but I think Sydney United will win.
Yeah, I think Sydney United will win as well.
And
I do.
what was your prediction?
Yeah, I think Sydney United too, especially because they dropped a couple games in the league.
Yeah.
They're built for cup competitions.
I know they are, mate. To be fair, the last few years they've always got a good run, haven't they?
Yeah.
FA Cup. They've won. Is this going to be the 9th or 10th Waratah Cup they've won?
Yeah,
They've won?
crazy.
Yeah, I think it'll be their 8th, and that'll make them they've won it more than any other club standalone. Then,
Wow.
if they do
Well,
that.
Chaz is part of that.
Yes. Yeah, a wee cameo 2 years ago. That was class.
But I think Tigers can't be ruled out.
No, 100%. And that, like,
doubt.
you look at Kai Denton, obviously scoring goals for fun in NPL 2. They're set up really well. Like they are disciplined in what they do and they do it well. But I think that looking at Sydney United, you're saying extra time. I don't see how Ante Juric won't have a fit team, like fit enough to go 120 minutes.
No, of course. But what I'm just meaning in terms of the big. Every time you mention Tigers, people always say, "Oh, they're super fit."
Super fit, yeah.
You've got to think that plays into their
No,
favour at the
100%.
moment. The only thing would be potentially with Tigers is they're putting a lot into obviously trying to get up this year, promoted.
Yeah.
It does take you at, and obviously a cup final, but it can sometimes sway you a wee bit. But also momentum. But the Tigers have been indifferent in there recently.
Yeah, they lost at the weekend. They
Seen that,
lost.
so Sydney United, I just say that they've lost the last 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that was a complete null and void point. Fucking pointless. Anyway, big game. Premiership Experience is the partner of Champion Football Show, number 1 provider of elite football tools. Partners, Chaz and I are partners with him as well, representing the Australian office. So if you're a private school, academy, even any sort of school or sports
club, whatever.
sports club involved in any sport, get in touch. Use the link in the bio below, and you can travel anywhere in the world, create your own experience. Whether it be elite experience, working with top coaches, whether it be dance schools, football, basketball, tennis, etc. You want a 5-star experience, partnered with Flight Centre, everything taken care of. Just get in touch using the link in the description box below.
Class. Results from the weekend.
Start with NPL 1.
Start with NPL 1 and we'll start with Manly versus St George.
Oh, start with a cracker, right?
Oh, parliamentary.
Decent
goal
goal,
that
that.
But it was first touch before the strikes, a cracker as
Uh-huh.
well. Lovely.
Sets
But
up
Manly
very well.
look a wee bit sketched, don't they?
Yeah, they struggled for a few weeks now as well.
Lost the gaffer. Oh, the talk is that basically they've not threw in the towel, but sacked the gaffer because they thought they couldn't get in the playoffs, which I thought was a wee bit surprising because they weren't that far off it.
Yeah.
Especially the way Olympic and United have been.
Yeah. They have to be careful as well, though, because like they're not that far from the bottom either.
I know that. Well, I didn't even consider that, but I was listening to it from the Gantry podcast,
Yeah.
and they mentioned that like they might be in the. And I thought actually that's true. They actually are in the. Well, not that deep into it. The way Mount Druitt
Yeah,
and
but like you
Central
got
Coast-
Sharks recruiting well, like you
Yeah,
know.
and Central Coast have been playing
Yeah.
really well as well, but they didn't be careful. I don't think they've signed anybody new that I know of, and I've heard Van der Sag might be away to Central Coast. Don't know if there's any truth in that. And I think Rocco Pelli, I think he's away to he went to Mount Druitt, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I don't know if they brought anyone else in. I don't know.
Replace, aye. It's just interesting because until a few weeks ago they were very good defensively.
I know.
Like they were very, very good. Now it just seems like they haven't scored loads of goals.
No.
So it's, if you're not keeping clean sheets, it's going to be difficult for them now to pick up points. But Misi's goal was an absolute screamer. And Grimaldi scored 3 minutes after.
A little bit no man's land, St George, aren't they? Like,
Yeah, I was saying
really
to Chaz before we started, like, St George City only got promoted for the first time in 2023, and since they've been promoted, they've been excellent.
Brilliant, aye.
So maybe because of that, like we have, I'm really,
so high.
you know, they've set this. They're the victim of their own success.
Yeah.
But you look at Grimaldi, beast.
Yeah.
Their team it's a very good team. So I pre-season I picked them. I think they're going to be if that team that finished 6th, 7th, 5th, you know, around that chasing pack. But maybe like if there's a team that could make a run, I know the gap I think is 9 points. I want to say between them and
So they're between them and it'll be Olympic, wasn't it? Olympic,
and United are 6.
So United's on 33 on
Yep.
6th, which is a playoff spot. Then you've got Olympic on 29.
Yep.
Sydney FC 27. St George FC 27. St George City 25. They're 8 points off 6th.
Like, you know, they put a run together
If
where
you
they
play for St George, you'd go
100%. We're a chance,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
after like last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I did their game against Blackdown 2 weeks ago. They were very, very good. They deserved a result in that game. They were down 1-0. They spent all
right.
game getting back into the game. McNulty, machine,
He's a good
great goal.
Yeah.
They just get back into the game off the kickoff. Boom, Blacktown score,
scored again.
and then they concede a third, and it was game over. So I think there's been a couple results where they probably could have gotten something out of a game, but definitely there's enough time. I think they.
Well,
could
the gaffer, they've got a good gaffer. He's usually set up quite well. Tactically, he's usually quite good. He was at Marconi assistant last year, and then obviously took the St George gig. He's a good gaffer. They've got plenty of quality. Grimaldi, Sparky, Lewis Curry. They've got players all. I think losing Nathan Roberts as a sore one. I don't know if they've signed anyone. But obviously, he's went to you boys and done well, but. Look, they're in there. They're in the mix.
Yeah, definitely.
Manly are to finish it off with Manly. Manly are, they're 11 points off of Central Coast. They need to make an absolute
that
arse
would
of
be,
it.
Yeah.
And then
You need Central Coast to win all the games.
and Wanderers
and
City, like, so it'd be tricky to see them in there. I think the bottom 3, in my opinion, Wanderers, Central Coast, and Mount Druitt looks pretty much stuck on.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
Definitely.
Right, what else we got, Chaz?
Wanderers versus Wolves.
Oh, great game for the Ray-Ban sponsorship. Fuck me, man. How could you watch
Blinded,
that?
huh?
You couldn't see a thing,
Couldn't see a thing, man.
Yeah.
Man, that commentating at that ground, that you're always dealing with the elements because it's always changed. Like sometimes, so they were on the, you know, the like I guess the combox side, like you know where there's like a little box, and then sometimes you're on the other end. It's like
the
scaffolding,
scaffolding.
and it's so windy and like I'm quite high up, and the scaffolding, you know, starts to shake. I'm like, we get the weather like we have now, I'm gonna fall off. Like, I wonder is that's one thing I love about these academy teams, particularly Wonder, is they play good football.
Oh, brilliant.
And, you know, live by the sword, die by the sword is the cliche, but it's just a couple times, you know, they need that little bit of gamesmanship. They need a little bit of that Blacktown, like see out a result, bit of Sydney United, like that, just that experience. Like they lead for 75 minutes, concede a goal. And that's been a
Nearly
case.
lost at the end with Olsen.
Yeah.
Olsen's
Yeah.
chance right at the very end.
We actually say that about Central Coast every week. Central Coast are the one academy team that are so intent on playing out from the back. They turn over the ball so much and give opportunities that often end in goals, man. And there comes a point where you need to think,
Let's just see.
is it really worth this? Like I'm losing 5-0. Do I need to lose 6 now?
Yeah.
Like
I think Wanderers are also in an interesting period where they had like a couple years ago, just talking NPL, a golden generation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You look at their A-League men's team, half of them played in the NPL 18 months ago.
Yep.
Players have gone on to go to Europe, Scotland, like, you know, everywhere. Like they had a real patch of like a golden generation. And I almost wish, remember that last year where they were leading
Fly,
after, and
I
they
know.
were battering teams
6-2,
5-2, 5-0, 4-0, like crazy results. I almost wish, and I know it can never happen, but like we just got one season with all the players.
Aye.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
That's
then you have
though.
things like players went over, like Nathaniel Blair and Adam Bagaria left, and then
Venus
all
left,
the A-League players had to
Sarsford
like
left
have a
as well,
1
didn't he?
month break or something like that, and then, you know, naturally, when you look at the team now, they got players that were probably playing under 16s 2 years ago.
young
Like
boys,
these are boys
Aye.
Yeah.
against men.
They're doing well. They're
They
doing
are,
well
and they got the
considering-
point deduction as well, and
I should have did that. No, I should have did that. That's right.
yeah,
They've an
so
Olympic.
they're doing. I think they're the type of team though that they'll string together maybe a month where they go unbeaten, which is what they did a couple of weeks ago, and then they'll be. I think they'll be safe. Yeah.
Well, in saying that though, but Central Coast have been a wee bit surprising with their form recently.
Last 2 games,
considering their form. But the only thing, just to finish that game, Wollongong Wolves, I mean, at the start of the season, didn't really expect them to perform the way they've performed. They've been a wee bit all over the shop, haven't they?
Yeah.
Missing Lockie Scott for sure. We mention it every week, so we can't take that away. But you'd think a team at Wollongong they've got a wee bit of budget behind them. They're going to the championship. They would have the depth to cover if Olsen or Lockie Scott go missing.
You need it. Like,
Have they picked up any points since he left? Since he got injured?
So maybe the last 5 weeks. I'm not sure.
I need
Well,
to
they
check the
obviously drew
results.
one each at the weekend.
Well, the last few games, they drew with Wanderers. They beat off Rockdale. They beat Central Coast. They beat off Olympic. Drew with St George. They beat off Apia. They beat off Blacktown. And obviously beat Marconi where Lockie scored a hat-trick. So they've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fuck.
1 and 7.
1 and 8. Oh, two, sorry, 1 and 7. Sorry, 1 and 7.
Aye.
Scott. So that's a fucking...
Yeah, they're in that weird like NPL purgatory. You know?
Yeah.
They're definitely not going to get relegated. They're probably too far from finals.
well, at 8 points, again, same as St George, same points as St George. So
I think one team is going to go on a run. One team in that block.
Yeah.
It looks like Sydney Olympic would be in the prime position, you'd think, but...
Well, we can go into
I'm skipping ahead, sorry.
No, that's actually the next game. Good timing.
What a segue. Professional.
Have you done this before?
I'm looking for a job, guys.
Blacktown beat Olympic 2-0. Penalty, Jack O'Brien scored.
Jack O'Brien looked if he grabbed the game with the scruff of the neck, man.
Aye.
Every fucking chance came for Jack O'Brien, didn't it? Hit the bar, couple just by the post, scores a pen.
Yeah.
What? But
That
goal.
assist as well was unreal. I love that goal.
Flying,
what
man.
about the one who hits the bar? Keeper saves it.
I know.
What a
Great
save.
Yeah.
Great save, aye. He's having a great season, Jack O'Brien, man. Good player. But to me, he is the main man for that team. Like, every team's got one, but he just seems to be the pest. Everyone I know that plays against him says he's a pest. Like, he just gets on the end of balls, like fucking...
It's funny, the game I did of them a couple of weeks ago, like, he looks like a pest in a sense, like, great player. He also chirps a lot
he's a
as well.
wank.
Like he was chirping with the St George bench. And, like, I was right on top of the bench. And usually I'm a little, like, if I'm at Rockdale, I'm a bit of a distance, I can't hear anything. I could hear everything. I'm just watching the chirp. Like, this is cinema. I'm loving this.
He's the type of guy you don't want, like, you're loving your team. I said about Jack Stewart last week,
Yeah,
as well, exact
100%.
same. Chirpy, whinging,
Great
giving away
player.
fouls, like just is everything that pisses you off as a player, but then he scores and backs it up with a performance, and he's got to end the balls and makes everything hard for you. Like, as I said, you'd hate to play against him, but he's very, very effective. He's a good player. So,
You know, in saying that, the first goal for Blacktown was a great
unreal.
finish.
Great finish, aye.
Great finish.
Yeah.
Good goal all round, aye. But I mean, Olympic, I don't think they played poorly. They still had a few half chances, but you just don't know with Olympic, do you?
Yeah, they're hard to read, eh? Like, one week they beat Marconi, they blitz Sydney United.
Battle's 4-0.
Yeah, and then they just it's consistency, but they're not that far. Like, they're 4 points. The point deduction really
They killed
hurt.
them. That shafted
Yeah,
them,
that really hurt them.
They'll
Got
fancy
loaded with,
themselves though. They'll still fancy themselves.
Definitely.
They're 4 points off Sydney United.
and their team is loaded as well.
Aye.
Yeah,
It's a
very
really
good
good
team.
team.
They'll fancy themselves 100%.
St George and Apia.
Oh yeah, I was down at that game actually. That was the game for the match of the round, the NPL.
Right.
So I was doing the live stories coverage there for that one. Yeah, it was a cracker game, that one.
That was the goalkeeping situation. Chaz,
Early, yeah.
Yeah, Mackenzie's.
chat to him about the goals. What's your thoughts on the goals? I watched them, but actually I only watched the goals this morning. But I mean, I thought Jack Stewart's was a great finish. The ball fucking took a mad curve.
Yeah.
Like weird.
Yeah, I was behind the goal for that one. It
fucking-
literally, I don't know how he
It
did
was
it
weird
because it was on the
to
ground as well. You wouldn't
Yeah,
expect to get that
just
movement.
run in.
The surface is obviously a bit sketch, but I don't know if that played a part. But it looked like a brilliant finish. But the third goal looked a bit sus, and the first goal looked a bit sus.
Yeah, well,
But none of this. Oh, I love goalkeepers. Just
I do love goalkeepers.
GK Union holding strong.
Always.
genuinely, like, you don't have to slaughter the guy. But what's your honest assessment of those goals? I just thought that they looked pretty like you should be saving them.
I think the third goal, the keeper needs to do better, in particular,
Right,
for
okay.
me. I just think that, like, and again, it's like I've spoken about it before in terms of goalkeepers and where they are now. Like, Axford tries to make the save on his 6-yard line. See if he's 2 yards deeper, it's comfortable. But because coaches are all go into this space, be higher off your line, that's what happens often, is that you don't have the time that you would have to make the save if you were 2 or 3 yards deeper. Do you know what I mean? And I just think that's all that's happened. He's too high, the ball's moved too
What
quick.
about the first one?
He's not reacted. I can't remember the first
Can be
goal.
Ashy, just straight
Yeah,
down the goal.
he's having
Straight
a
down the
great
guts.
season.
He's a great player, mate. He's brilliant.
Did I? I don't remember the first goal.
Just straight in the guts, just right past them. I don't know if it's, again, the surface looks like...
It looked like they
there's
were
a
playing on
massive
the moon.
Yeah,
Like
very
craters
yellow,
everywhere.
very yellow out there.
They're sorting
Everyone
out.
just floating about.
Bolchinov did it the best. You could tell he was like trying not to rip in. He's like, yeah, they're playing around with some surfaces. That's a really nice way to put it.
No, that was, I think that does make a big factor.
But I think it's hard. People that aren't goalkeepers won't... See if you've not played for... So, Siren's been playing
was
for...
the first goal...
It was just after the change, wasn't
Oh, was
it?
it? Okay.
The first goal, which one's this?
The Gabriash's goal.
Yeah,
They made
it was
the
after
change of the goalkeeper, yeah. So
had
it's
to go
like,
off.
if you've not played for, what round are we in? 20 weeks? You've not played a game for 20 weeks. Going in is
it's
hard.
cold, yeah.
It's hard. Like, goalkeeping is... It's a lot of muscle memory, and obviously you do things at training, but it's not the same as playing games. So it's hard to go in after 10 minutes into a game.
So you can't make a judgment call because you've not seen it, that's basically what you're saying.
No, but I'm just saying it is hard for keepers to
I
go
know,
into
but
games.
man, it's football. It's not a fucking World Cup final. It's a fucking... I mean,
Oh.
it was a shot in the guts.
Yeah, I don't remember the goal. I'm just trying to stick up for that.
I know, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just trying to stick up for the guy. Again, I didn't see any... He might have made a few cracking saves. I just thought that was a definite factor.
I thought the third one, that's what I said, but I don't remember the first goal.
Do you have to mention St George's first goal build-up was fucking brilliant for it, for Poon's goal, first 2
Yes,
minutes.
it was.
Yeah.
Great
yeah.
clean goal.
It's
that.
so
Superb.
fast.
I'm surprised at St George because they do play good football, St George, and the surface is terrible. They're home
Yep.
for a home pitch, like
Yep.
definitely a detriment to them. But great first goal, and great to be fair, the second goal was a cracker as well. Casella's
was, yeah.
it
great
was.
finish.
Great finish.
Casella loves a goal, man. Him, Poon and Bay are like the trifecta for those three, aren't they? They're
Got a
brilliant.
good team.
Aye.
They've got a nice little like core there, as you said.
Yeah,
And
And,
Troy Didasco's obviously he actually made the mistake for the goal. So
Yeah.
he's probably unlikely he's had a good season. I know he listens as well, so get it up, you Troy.
Big game at the bottom of the table next, Central Coast and Mount Druitt.
Mountain Druitt are in trouble.
I think they're in trouble as well.
Big
It's a
game.
shame. I don't know. I looked at Mount Druitt and I thought, like, that's a team that could, especially because only one team gets dropped automatically. I thought that was a team that could get out.
Well, they were on the Rangers kit, so I was delighted to see them lose. They made that change specifically to look like Rangers, so it's always nice to see them lose that game. But nah, look, Central Coast, but to be fair, Plume Park's tough. Jai Rose is flying just now.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
doing
he
very
is.
well.
Is he related to Lockie Rose at all, by any chance?
Oh, I don't know.
I
he
think
looks so much
Yeah, I
like
think
him.
He's got the hair as well.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the younger
yeah,
brother
yeah,
or
long
something,
blonde.
surely,
Yeah.
Surely.
There you
I
go.
think he is.
I think he's related to somebody, fairly, because I seen a post about him saying something about.
he is. He's
Aye.
younger
He
brother
needs
or-
to be, yeah. Surely.
Maybe, yeah.
Aye. Let's
I just
say
looks
yes.
like identical.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
was
Same
like-
hair, everything.
Yeah.
Well, he's been playing really well, and then the big moment really was a save for Joe. I think it was Joe Wade.
Joe Wade on at the post.
On the post, and obviously tickles across the line.
Yeah.
That makes to make it 1-1. But I mean, I just don't know where Mount Druitt's going to get wins from. I just can't. They made a few signings, but it's going to
Yeah,
be really
it's
tough
tough.
for
It's
them.
tight down there. That little core,
Aye.
like if you get a couple wins, you can pull clear.
I know,
That's,
but
a,
how-
that's,
how
that's
many-
where they're going to get their
How
wins.
many games have Mount Druitt won?
They have won 3 games all year.
That's what makes it hard.
And Central Coast have won 3, but 2 of them came in the last 2
Yeah,
weeks.
last
Yeah.
2 weeks.
So they're in a bit
I
of
thought
form.
they were, honestly, a fortnight ago, I thought they were gone.
So did I.
Yeah,
100%.
I thought gone 100%. And then you're fighting for that 15th. But yeah, they're looking
But
good.
I think both clubs, I can't say for Mount Druitt, but I'm pretty sure Wanderers and Central Coast have got to play Marconi, Rockdale. I know Central Coast have got to play us.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be obviously be a factor, and I don't know
Yeah,
who else.
okay.
The fixtures play a factor, because again, we mentioned it last week as well. Depends on, if there's 2 or 3 games to go, it depends on where the other teams are sitting in the league.
Of course.
Yeah.
So that can
You're
play a
playing that
factor.
mid-table team that's got nothing to play for.
Aye,
Yeah.
it can make it can be a big difference. But look, relegation battle is definitely on, which is good for the league. I think I'm going to
Yeah.
say Sutherland are going to be all right. That win, massive, which we'll go into in a second. But Wanderers, Central Coast, Mount Druitt, look if they're battling it out for that relegation battle.
Yep. Marconi, Sydney FC.
Aye, interesting game.
It was.
Some bizarre. I mean, Marconi looked fairly comfortable for the most, apart from the 85th minute. I think Sydney FC had a decent half
Big
chance.
chance.
But just the ball wouldn't sit for them. But yes, it's his chance. Obviously, Hoysflute makes that uncharacteristic mistake, which has
Yeah.
been brilliant all year.
Yeah, he has.
And then obviously, yes, it hits into the post. And then, so can any of you boys clarify, was it offside or a foul?
I think it was offside, yeah.
I thought it was offside.
Yeah, I
when
thought
Yesic
so.
hit it, Sekenis was
Offside.
definitely an offside
Yeah,
position.
yeah.
So then-
hit the post, came back
off.
across, and Sekenis got a touch before.
No, but I
it
thought,
went off.
so initially I'm like, offside. Then I watched the rest of the highlight and the commentator says, oh, it was a foul on Kyle Shaw.
You know what?
On the line
That's a
now.
commentator's nightmare. That scenario
Aye.
because you got no idea what's going on. Like you're up in the palace.
yeah.
You're up in that tower. You're just trying to. You hear a whistle.
You've got
Like I
binoculars.
feel bad for a commentator in that scenario because you have no idea.
Oh,
Like,
okay, it may have been right as well because my question was then, it hits a post. I can't remember from memory. Does Kyle Shaw touch it first, which then means the offside's no longer applying?
From where I saw it, didn't look like he got a touch on it.
Okay.
Even if he did, it was so close that I think you still got to call the
yeah,
offside there anyway.
It was a tough one, but I mean, I suppose whether it worked, Marconi deserved the win. Got the win.
Did.
Yes, he's missed the pen as well. Fucking
I know.
ruined it, man.
I know. And that's it. So Kenneth has got him out a wee bit of a hole.
Aye, but I mean, to fit yes, I think 21 games. I think he's probably been the best player in
definitely.
at least 50% of those games. So
aging like a fine wine as
Oh,
well.
he's a
He's
good-
going to slow down anytime soon. How many goals did he score last year and then this year as well?
Yeah,
He's just
doing well,
a
man.
machine.
energy, mate. All comes with his energy. He's just the Perry mentioned it, went to watch him as well. Defends. He's fucking
He's an
pressing.
animal. He runs around like he's 21. He must look after himself. That's the
Oh, I
vibe
will
I
do.
get. Like he's just an animal.
He will do. But I mean, Marconi, brilliant win, obviously, with Rockdale
100%.
dropping points. So they got a new, what's the centre half called? The new centre half of Perth Glory?
Who from Marconi?
Aye.
Murdercutis.
Murdercutis, aye,
Taz
okay.
Murdercutis, yeah.
I
He's played the
don't
Wanderers
know
as well.
much about him. Can you any insight on him?
Yeah, so he was with the Wanderers a couple of years ago for the academy, came up, and then I think he went over to Canada to play.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, over in Canada. And then, Perth picked him up halfway through last season. I think his contract ran out, and now, at Marconi.
Ball playing centre defender.
Oh, honestly, I couldn't tell you that much. I didn't catch much of the
I
game on
just
the
said that
weekend.
for some of the boys last night at training. They said he's a right good.
That was
he's good on it.
wonderful
decent.
knowledge from you there.
Oh, man, I'm a Wanderers fan, so I got all that. It's all in there. But, that's a good pickup. Very good pickup.
Yeah. Well, they
They're so
needed a
strong.
wee bit of depth, obviously. With
Yeah.
Did you see that Wanderers fan? I saw something this morning about Timokovsky.
Yeah.
Supposedly making an NPL return.
I did see that, yeah.
Was that the- was
the
that
only
Marconi game,
club
wasn't it?
I've seen him remotely linked to was maybe Sharks.
I was seeing that. I get told.
Wow.
I get told on Instagram last week. Obviously, fucking who knows? At 75 madman, whoever the fuck that could be. Timo JT to Sutherland, who knows? But then also heard that he was at the Marconi game at the weekend. JT.
He was there, yeah. Obviously used to play there. I think
Again,
he's still
so you don't
close
know
to
if
heaps of
it's
the
just
boys.
By casual, just.
Yeah,
I'm in
yeah.
the
I've
watching
seen him.
his
I've seen him at
friends.
Bankstown City games as well. So he's like,
Bankstown
gets
said
around.
he was stacked next year.
Fucking right.
The rumours. I've heard some juicy rumours there.
I like that Fabrizio Romano of NPL.
So plenty happening there. But I like whoever picks him up, obviously, would be brilliant.
But he used to play at Sharks as well back in the day as well. So
Oh, there you
it
go.
would make sense for him to be up there, I reckon.
But I mean,
Sharks making moves.
why
right.
is
What's the goal?
What's
Like?
the
It's
point?
just staying safe, I guess. But
Do
Do it at the
could
start
they
of the
do that
season.
without him? Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Without
not.
paying a fair bit of dough, and then they're not in the championship. Oh, but that was the rumour last week, wasn't it? That Sutherland Sharks are making a late push. Is there any truth in that? Do you know?
To get into the championship? Well,
Aye.
yeah, how does it going to work
That's-
in
I
terms
don't-
of like
no idea.
certain, like it'll be like a qualification, like the highest ranking non-foundation team will get in?
That's what it's supposed to be. But then the rumour came out last week that Sutherland Sharks are making a late push to get into championship. But how do you do that if the foundation
Well, they
clubs
had
are
that
also saying?
bid with the Sharks, like
Kinda like-
the
Aye.
rugby league team.
What do they do?
The rugby league team.
I'd rule out anything this year. No way.
Aye.
But maybe because obviously there's plans to extend to a
Yeah, of
full
course.
home and away. That's
Yep.
probably where that would, if it is true and the rumours behind it, then that's where it would come
I think
into
it'd be
play.
cool seeing them in a second division.
Yeah,
Well, they've
100%.
got to-
Like,
they've
it's a
up-
great
up-
region.
Upgraded
Yeah.
the facilities a wee bit. Yeah.
They seem like a well-run club. Anyone that I've ever spoken to that played there always says Sutherland.
They always say it's good
well-run,
things,
no
Yeah, yeah.
cowboy stuff. Like,
No.
seem like and it's a great.
Have you
region.
been there since it's been redone up?
Very nice.
Yeah, it's
I've heard the
great,
acai bowls there go off.
Ah,
I didn't eat
yeah,
there when I
yeah.
commentated there. It looks like the Coogee
Do
Pavilion.
you ever have a few beers or anything when you're commentating? Oh, no?
Nah, I can't. The beers will make me like real
Aye.
like the microphone that close to my mouth. Probably not gonna be as.
I would love to listen to an NPL game if all the commentators had like 2 pints. Do you mean
Yeah.
just
I'm
not
sure
too
it's happened
much,
before.
Not too much, not too much, but enough to give a wee bit of fucking.
Aye, to relax a little
I 100% guarantee it's happened before.
Oh, aye.
I don't know who, but I guarantee
who.
a commentator on his way to a wedding or maybe leaving a wedding or something like that. It would happen.
You're saying Mulchy's always says 3 or 4 pints before a game, you said, didn't you?
If that's performance enhancing, obviously for Mulchy.
We'll jump on to Sydney United and Spirit.
Hey,
Well, you watched part of the game?
I did. I said this to Gary. I thought that Sydney United had a bit more of the ball, more control of the game. But Spirit scored 2 great goals. Literally, I didn't think that Sydney United had the ball without creating too much, though. Like, it was just all really in front of the defence. So, yeah, I think it was probably for you
I thought
to
we
score
worked
2
very,
good goals.
very hard.
Yeah.
But I thought we worked their arse off, like looking at the boys after the game.
Yeah.
All dead in their feet. They did have a lot of the ball, but testament to their defence. Got a good defensive record, but Chris didn't really have much to do.
They
Not
one
because-
save in the
think they
first half.
struggled to break us down. Our defence was brilliant. We defended so well. Game plan worked a treat. Perko changed the system slightly, formation-wise, to accommodate. Again, looking at how we played against them last time, they had Classic sitting the last time, but Classic played central defence this time round. But that was a real problem for us when we played them at Christie Park, and obviously Perko made a few changes to nullify that, and then caught two tremendous
good goals.
The first
Very
goal was a
good.
belter.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
A really good goal.
What I like about Spirit, that's the beauty of it. You score that beautiful goal where you almost walk it in, and then the second goal just sit on the counter attack, bang.
That goal.
But they it's good to. I like seeing. I was a bit worried about Spirit maybe 6 weeks ago. You know, the couple games. I thought, oh, here we go. Maybe that run was a bit early, but you were Kubo, man. What? I call him the Japanese Carlos Tevez.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
Japanese, yeah.
He's Japanese,
Yeah, he's Japanese because he's like. I've only done Spirit once. I wish I got them more, but it was against Blacktown. In Blacktown, and I'm watching. You guys are playing long. Like, why are you playing long? You're Blacktown.
Backspace and behind me.
Blacktown's back four. They're like basketball players. They're massive. And I'm watching you get up there, and he bullied them. Like he's got to be shorter than me. I'm a short king. He's got to be shorter than me. He was bullying them, just like Carlos Tevez, just getting up there bullying centre backs. Like it was so cool. It was so cool to watch.
Yeah.
Just see him just like they couldn't handle him, and then you have the other Afuka as well, and kind of Stubber's a machine. It's a Spirit good
And
to
then
watch.
Wiggs coming back. It was good to see him score.
Aye, brilliant to see him score after his ACL. But I think that's probably why we've been successful this year. Is I think typically Spirit are always Perko likes to play, but we go direct. We can play. We play. Perko always says like play what the team's giving you. Like we do. We can go direct, and having that's probably the downfall the last couple of years is we've not had a centre forward who can really hold it up. And Kubu can hold it up. He likes the ball in behind, but at the same time, we still have those players who can come to feet and then play around them with the pace we've got. So I think I like good performance. Sydney United, I thought they might have rested a few players for the final, but they had a full strength team pretty much. But Janirovic didn't have much to do either.
Yeah, that's true.
We only had probably 2 chances. They had 2 or 3 shots. That's what I was going to actually say to you boys because you're involved in the New South Wales Journal side of things. But the match report, if you read it, it sounded like we got peppered. Chris Marks was fucking man of the match. He gets in team of the week. I think he genuinely made
2 saves.
2 saves
Yeah.
out of nothing. I don't know how the fuck, just bizarre to read.
As I said, I watched the game. Well, I say I watched it. It was on.
Yeah.
So obviously,
of course.
get excited. I'm like, we're tuning in to see what's happening. And I saw Team of the Week, and I was like, why is he getting Team of the Week? Like, because he literally didn't have anything to do.
It was a if you're a neutral, it was a shite game.
Yeah, it was.
It was a shite game. It was just basically Sydney United try to break us down.
100%.
We defend well, have a little half chance, back in again, repeat. They obviously scored after 12 minutes.
Yeah, they have a journalist there as well. I have nothing to do with the 3-2-1, which is probably a good thing as well. Because like when you're commentating, you watch the game, the same as social, you watch it through a different lens.
Of course.
But sometimes you get that, like the team of the weeks or something. I love when the players get filthy about it as well.
Man, they get filthy.
That's the best.
Yeah, the
I'm
comments.
not going to name names, but there was a couple ones I remember. Like a player, great player in our league, commented like, "Oh, this is a joke that I didn't get in." I'm like, "That's mad."
Well, mate, to be fair, there was one. I've seen an email thread of a journalist telling a player, "I've put you as my 3 or a 2 or a 1, whatever it is," and then it comes out and he's not in it. So then he replies saying like,
Where's my
Yeah.
points?
"You just told me I was fucking in it." And he said, "Oh, sorry, mate. My hands were tied, sort of thing."
I'm so glad I don't do that.
Yeah, I'm happy to stay out of the politics of all that.
I'm so glad I don't do that. Like, do the play like are you like? Do you know certain players that like take that seriously? Like they really care. Like, did I get the 3-2-1 or like?
People care. Not everyone admit it, but naturally, mate. Every football player's got an ego.
Yeah.
So, and especially if you have played well, and you're at the back of your head, if someone says, "Oh, well done, mate, you're amazing," everyone's telling you you're amazing.
You're expecting
know
that team. You expect that notification on a Monday.
That
aren't
wee
you?
small thing,
Yeah,
because it's in our chat straight away, like, "Well done to such and such for team of the week this week," and back of the head, everyone wants to be noticed for doing a good job in any industry. So if you put a lot of work into it, you do well.
Yeah.
I think everyone cares, but it's also tough for a 3-2-1 if it's a tight game because you're trying to pick from both sides.
Nah, of course.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it as a club, then you're doing between 2 teams. But some of them are bizarre. Some are very bizarre. I do think there's some politics involved in it from an agent standpoint of how do we promote some players, how do we get them in team of the week.
Okay.
I think you can try and push some players to to the forefront to try and get him a move. That's this is my personal opinion on it. But
It's hard as well. As you said, every game is different. And like some games it's really easy. Well, he scored a hat trick, he gets the 3. I remember once, and he deserved it. Nizic got into the team of the week and he's lost. His team lost. They were lost 1-0, but he pulled it. Would have
goalkeepers are tough like that.
Yeah, but it's fair. I watched that game and I saw the catalogue is saying he made like 8 unbelievable one-on-one saves. He absolutely deserved to get into the team of the week. But that's hard because then another guy might be like, hey, I kept a clean sheet and made 3 great saves. Like, it'd be so hard to. I don't know who. I'd love to know who it. Football New South Wales does that. I have an idea. I think I know who it is. Politics of it. No, I'm not going to let that out in public. But yeah, it's interesting. Eh? Like you're cooking up. You're going to cause some division.
Yeah, 100%, man.
I imagine that. He's a two.
Who's
I'm going to put him in. It's between him or him. Oh, I don't like him. Get rid of him.
Well, natural is bias and everything. You're going to be biased. He's a wee dick. Fuck him.
And then he comments on the Instagram.
The last game in NPL 1, big surprise, Sutherland and Rockdale.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone saw it coming.
No. Like I think obviously it was talk about Sutherland strengthening, which they did, but not as big as obviously the banter chat was giving it in terms of all the transfers. Leo Mazes obviously impact signing.
He looked really good as well.
Effectively the winner.
Yeah.
Yanni Nikolai played as well, I believe. I don't know who else started off the top of my head. Rockdale didn't have anyone new starting from their lineup.
Yeah.
Danzo was still there despite the rumours. From his highlights, I mean, I didn't see the whole game.
The highlights.
I'm not going to say deserved because Rockdale had chances as well, but Sutherland looked good for something from the game because they missed 2 big chances. Soros makes 2 great saves near the end.
Yeah.
But I don't know what else happened like in between that other than just what you see on the highlights. And again, the Rockdale glare doesn't give you much. Man, it's fucking rough.
That is hard.
But man, I was at the point where I was struggling to see Rockdale, other than playing against Spirit, dropping points.
Yeah.
Like they were fucking flat. I was at 15 games, I think,
Yeah.
without dropping points. And then on a machine, I just, same as last year, just can't see them losing. There's so much depth. But Swords was out, Retreat was out, changed the centre halves. Don't know if that had a part to play.
Yeah.
But look, I was delighted.
Yeah, I mean, you would be, for sure. From a neutral perspective, it's great because now the top is just condensed.
Yeah.
The only thing with Rockdale is other than Appiah, their goal difference is healthy, which is worth an extra point.
Yeah.
So, talking with Mark Coney, obviously it's worth an extra point. He's still ahead of him currently. With Spirit, we've still to play them, but I would still technically say it's in Rockdale's hands more because we're 11 points swing, 11 goal swing.
Right, okay.
It's a lot to swing round unless we beat them 11 now. So, I mean, I can't see Rockdale conceding that big a difference over the way they've been the rest of the season. Stranger things have happened, but we would need to pepper a team. So it's still in there. The ball's definitely firmly in Rockdale's court. Can they go the last 9 games undefeated or winning them all? 100%.
100%.
But I wouldn't put it past Spirit, Marconi, or even Appiah doing the exact fucking same.
Well, I think that something we've spoken about often is Jurasevsky.
He's
He's not scored goals for a few weeks.
Oh, neither Kuba hasn't scored in a month. That was his first goal in a month.
Oh, wow.
Aye.
So I think that without Jurasevsky scoring goals for Rockdale,
Well, they've been scoring goals, but the other weeks without him.
Yeah.
Ali Ogla stepped up.
Ali Ogla's done well, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
a great, like they're stacked.
They're stacked.
Yeah, they are stacked. I
I
think
think
that's
not played a lot. Ollie Puffert's not played a lot, has he?
Nah.
He's on the bench a lot. He's not like had featured much.
nah,
I'm
tough
surprised at that.
front 3 to crack.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I just thought it'd be played a wee bit more. But I look big result for the league in general. And
it's great.
Brilliant. Everyone wants to see a title race.
Yeah,
100%.
So superb. So NPL 1, Sutherland obviously probably pulled themselves out of that relegation battle. Great win for them. And they played the home game there as well, didn't they? They played both games.
earlier in the season. They played at home,
So both games at Ireland, didn't they pick up 3 points? They lost 3-2 the first game, I think it was.
And I think they bottled that
They
game.
did
From
that,
what I remember, that was a game where I think they were leading in that game. Something happened. They should have got something out of that game too.
So that's obviously good performances there. But Rockdale 46 ahead of Marconi, also on 46. Spirit on 43. Spirit still to play Marconi and Rockdale. Obviously, Rockdale Marconi it's a back-to-back game. We played Rockdale, then Marconi. Rockdale is Christie Park, Marconi away. Marconi and Rockdale obviously already played each other twice. Appiah played Rockdale, I believe, next weekend.
Wow.
Not this weekend, the weekend after, so that'll be a big game as well. I believe this week Blackdown play Rockdale, I think. Is that right? And Marconi play
Sydney United.
Marconi said
Appiah play Wanderers. I'm on that game.
Yeah.
Aye.
Oh, yeah.
Appiah play Wanderers.
Wanderers.
Rockdale
Appiah play
play
Wanderers,
Blacktown and Marconi play United. So
Rockdale Blacktown this weekend, is it?
I'm pretty sure
that's
it's
a big one.
Aye.
Yeah,
So big
Wow.
weekend ahead.
Big
Then
weekend.
Rockdale play Appiah. and then Rockdale play us.
That's a big.
That's a rematch of that game they had at the 4-3 at Lambert. That was a wild game.
That was the best game of the season.
That was a wild game as well.
That's the best game I think of the season so far. It was fucking superb, man. And then we got to the top 4. Apia, by the way, again, sneakily sexy football.
Just going about their business.
Sneakily, seductively sneaking away. Sneaking away on 4 point. I mean, they are fucking well in the title. They're getting ignored, but they've got 27. They've got a better goal difference in Marconi and Spirit, and they're 4 points off the top.
Yeah, playing
with
sexy
Rockdale
football.
To play, sexy football with Rockdale still to play.
Yeah,
and I don't know if they thought to play Marconi. I think they have.
Yeah,
they played them. They played them earlier in the season.
No, they play them again.
Yeah, they've got because obviously the second game was in the cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, they played them again.
Right.
Yeah, they played them in at Lambert, and Marconi beat them.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so that's
and then they
you two
played
boys.
in the cup.
You two boys now. Who win the league? Who will be in the finals? And who will get relegated? We won't get to chat these again, so just give us a.
Or is it who's going to win the league?
Yeah.
You say first?
I'll give you a top 6. Who win the league? And then who'll be the top 6. Doesn't have to be in order, and who'll get relegated.
I reckon Marconi will get over the line, win the league.
Yep.
Off the back of their defence, I reckon.
Yeah, a good shout.
Second, I'll go Rockdale.
Yep, fuck you.
Yeah, second Rockdale.
Scumbag.
Apia third.
Fucking what?
Yeah, I'll go Spirit fourth.
Oh my god.
Blacktown
Turn his
five.
mic off. Turn his mic off.
Blacktown 5, and then
Oh, it's tough. 6 is tough.
6 is the hardest one to pick, honestly, I reckon.
Yep.
Except for top, maybe. But, man, Sydney Olympic, if they play like, it's just week on, week off, so I don't think they'll get there, but they could if they can turn it on. But I'll go United.
United, okay. And who is going to get relegated? Who's the bottom 2? I don't like saying they'll get relegated. Who's the bottom 2?
Ooh, Mountie, and then we'll go Mariners. as
Mount Druitt and
Yeah,
Mariners.
back the Wanderers in.
To win the league or to win the grand final?
We'll go league.
Okay, league, I think will be. It's going to be Marconi. I think Marconi will win the league. I agree with you. I think it'll be Marconi, Rockdale, Apia.
This is unbelievable.
However, what I will say is I think finals, Apia, that's my pick in a grand final. A Derby d'Italia grand final, Marconi versus Apia. Can you imagine?
Mate, you'd fucking cream your pants.
That I would be. I'm creaming it already just thinking about it. I think Marconi though will get over the line. I think they'll win the league. Spirit will come fourth, and then you'll go Blacktown.
We've just sorted.
Yeah, Spirit are going to sign fourth, and I can't wait to see you guys play finals football as well. I think you guys are that team. That's the beauty of this league is that nothing would surprise me because then we've got 5th and 6th. I think the top 6 is done, in my opinion. I think Blacktown will finish 5th, and I think Sydney United will finish 6th. If you said to me, Blacktown slide in, no one talks about them, and they go all the way to the grand final and win it, that wouldn't surprise me. If Sydney United piece it together, do the exact same thing, nothing.
Finals is anyone.
Nothing would surprise me. Like
anyone.
final, let's be real, we're football fans. It's first past the post should be. They tried that. I can understand why it didn't work.
Yeah.
Now it's exciting seeing the finals. As you saw last year, it's an anomaly. Like anyone can win it. You got to peak at the right time. I think Apia maybe ran out of juice last year. So I'm really keen to see. I think that's the 3.
Does the championship impact that a wee bit? A little bit different from player standpoint, and then again, I don't know. I'd be surprised. Any footballer wants to be involved in semi-finals and finals. If a gaffer says to you, "I was going to rest you because the championship's coming up," and wanted you, be like, "Fuck off."
Yeah, I can't imagine. And you see a lot of these teams now, like looking at Apia, for example, they've got a nice blend of like the signings they're making are players like Joel Bertolicio, for example, or Maxim Kasalovic, like those are players who have just left an A-League academy system. They're young, they play good, exciting football. They're going for those players, and then you have the OGs, that mix of youth and experience.
Mon's a great signing as well, but
it's fantastic signing. I think those are the signings you're seeing these teams go because they're thinking ahead. They're thinking second division or championship, whatever you want to call it. So I think these teams are deep. I can't imagine something like that would happen. But if you said any of those teams in the top 6 won it, it wouldn't surprise me either. Yeah. I can't wait. It's going to be so exciting. I'm excited to see Spirit. Bottom 2 is going to be Mariners and Mounties, I think. I think the Wanderers at some stage will put a little run together, which is what they did about a month ago. I think they'll go a month unbeaten and they'll be sweet.
Well, before we go to NPL 2, just a quick reminder to anyone listening, if you're watching on YouTube, please click the subscribe button because we've got 70% of people who watch the show do not subscribe to the show. Appreciate you watching. Brilliant. Massively appreciate it. But if you can just click the subscribe button, it helps us out massively, promote the show. And I don't know how the fucking algorithm works, but it helps us. Just tap the subscribe button. Takes
Don't
2
be one of
seconds.
those people that just likes and comments and doesn't subscribe.
Yeah.
I know. To be fair, we get lots of good feedback on the show and appreciate it. Got good some feedback. People after the Sydney United game as well. Called an arsehole a few times. Always welcome. But just click subscribe, please. Massive favour. If you're on Spotify or Google, if you can just click the rate button as well. It all goes a long way. Don't know why, but it just works.
It does.
Aye.
NPL Victoria. Do you boys know much about NPL Victoria?
I keep an eye on it. Like, I had a soft spot for South Melbourne because a friend of mine, Esteban Quintas, so I worked with at Optus,
Good name.
was the manager. Beautiful name.
Aye.
One of the greatest guys you'll ever meet. So he worked with us during the Copa America and the Euros. So I had like a little bit of a soft spot for them, and he unfortunately got sacked. So I like to keep an eye on Melbourne, Victoria. Like, I don't follow it.
Did you blame the kettle thing on him?
No, that's Claude. That was definitely Claude. We've established that was Claude. Yeah, I keep an eye on it, man. They look, Sydney is the best state in the world in terms to live and stuff. But wow, Melbourne just
Sport.
that
Sports
sport
class.
culture they have is so ingrained.
Music and sport, they're superb.
What is so cool is, like, I was speaking to Claude and he was saying, he went to South Melbourne, Preston.
Yeah.
And he said,
Oh, did he go yet? Aye. Oh,
he said
amazing.
what was so cool was there were 6,000 people, and he goes, they were all, like, majority of them were our age. So they've just that has just been great and passed down from generations, because there's a generation of football fans I think in Sydney that were NSL fans. Then maybe it got lost, passing it down to their kids or whatever the reason was. But you can see Melbourne, it is ingrained in them, and it is so cool to see scenes like 6,000 people, man. They're big. They put better crowds than some of the A-League teams. It's
100%.
so cool to watch and
More passionate as well.
But then also the wild thing is, then you look at the bottom of the table, man, what are those teams doing down there? Like, they're big clubs with so much history, just like the same in New South Wales. But
Yeah,
it looks like it's another wild season cooking up there.
But Brent, the thing I don't like about Preston is the flares, man. You need to ban those flares.
No, don't even get me started. Don't get me started on that.
Honestly, see, I would love to do in the championship. Just set up a stall outside the
Selling
ground,
flares.
just giving out flares. Enjoy yourself, lads. Get your flares out.
Man,
fucking go.
wouldn't that be the easiest sponsorship integration ever? Get what is it? What's the fishing
BCF.
store? BCF out the front. They do a store.
Seriously, but
That's
like,
it. Aye.
see, flares, are they banned in the stadiums? They're not banned, are they?
They are.
They're like, I think they're technically illegal to use
Yes.
if not in an emergency. So yeah,
Yeah,
They're illegal.
they're
Yeah.
illegal.
Fucking hell.
if you were to go rip one down the street, yeah,
Yes.
you'd end up
I'm
in a
not
bit of
just
one
trouble.
here.
fucking coffee shops. One black, my man. No, what I mean is, like, I feel
Imagine.
Yeah.
Because that to me, obviously, everyone, it just looks class. Like, imagine watching
Yeah, yeah.
the Sydney Olympic versus South Melbourne opening game, and it's just fucking blue flares getting
Oh,
popped
man.
everywhere.
And
It's
then you
brilliant,
can't kick off for 10 minutes because
Aye.
there's too much
It's just
smoke.
massive.
Oh.
Man, that happened to me. I did a Wanderers game against Olympic, and they did that. They ripped the flare, and I was on commentary, and the game got stopped. And I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. First of all, it was one of the wildest games ever. It was, I think, 3-2-1. It was a crazy game. And the game got stopped. And I'm there on comms. I'm not going to speak like the 10-minute delay, but I'm like, wow, these are scenes you'd see in Belgrade or something. Little did I know Wanderers were about to get absolutely hammered because of it. But me being a football fan, I see these and, like, let's be honest, we know.
Harmless,
Obviously,
man.
I'm not saying get flares and launch them into a crowd.
Nah, nah,
That's
yeah. Of
someone
course.
that's an idiot that would do stuff like that. But we know how, like, it's awesome. We idolize, when we see them in Europe. Like, if we see them in
100%.
Istanbul, if we see them in Belgrade. But then when we see them here in Australia, these crazy ethnics are doing some soccer ritual. Oh, give me a break, man. Give me a break. It's like,
But to be fair, it is always that stupid fucking dickhead who ruins it for everyone, who's like, yeah, flares, let's throw it. No, don't throw it.
throw it. Like, don't be
Throw
a,
it. Everyone's
as you
enjoying
said, don't be a dickhead. Like,
Yeah.
just keep it safe. Like, maybe if we can integrate, I'm just talking A-League here. Like,
yeah.
if we have an area where you go in that
Yeah.
area, it's active support. This
Yeah.
is rowdy. I'm not having a picnic in this area. So if
Yeah,
you want to bring your
100%.
kids and stuff, which is awesome, but also we obsess about, family friendly. We got to make it family friendly. I know that if I go to a football game and it's like a library, I'm not going to want to go there. If I was a
100%.
kid and I see cool scenes, like, oh my God. Like, for example, with that game that I did Wanderers in Olympic, that was the best advertisement to get people to go to the NPL that I could ever give someone.
100%,
Class game. Free kick from
Let
Nathaniel
go, I
Blair to
like
win it.
that,
It was
I like
wild.
Yeah,
Fans ran
unreal.
onto the pitch. I'm like, if I was a kid and I was a Wanderers fan, I'm saying, Mum, you're taking me to the next NPL.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is so cool. And then the RBB met at the McDonald's before. There was like 200 in there. I went in there to go to the bathroom and maybe get a little sneaky little cheeseburger or something. And then I see like 200 run from it. I'm like, we're on tonight. And then there were Olympic fans. That's cool. If we can do it in a safe, if we can find that middle ground, as you said, it's always that one asshole that's got I'm going to launch it into a crowd of 500 people. Man, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
But then these people that hate football are just waiting. They're like, oh, did you say someone got
100%.
burnt?
Yes,
We got him, boys. And then that's it. And you ruin it for everyone. But that for me, if you want to get families together, you want to excite the next generation, not make these sterile atmospheres. It's like going to a funeral. Make these cool, safe. We find a way to do it safe. I'm not in this. I don't know the exact ins and outs, but we find a way to make it safe. That's the best advertisement for the game.
Like, I'll speak from Celtic. Celtic started the thing, the Green Brigade. The corner part of the stadium is the Green Brigade. It goes like that, right in the corner flag. Everyone knows there's a family section and the main stand.
Yep.
They don't go near that. The Green Brigade, if you want to go and party, get a seat near the Green Brigade.
Exactly. And if you want to be away from that, man, there's 95% of the stadium. Park up there, do whatever you want. But if you want to get in there, you want to get a little bit like jump up around. It's the best. You sit in the Cove, you sit in the RBB, whatever it is. That is as a football fan, that's the best.
That's what you want.
And that is how you're going to get that. I was speaking about that disconnect. Like that's one of the ways you're going to excite the next generation. By making these games like you want to go to. You're competing with so many things. We're competing with all these other codes. Then on top of that, we're competing with this shitstorm that whenever we slip up just slightly, the media companies with their agendas are going, we got football.
Yeah, 100%.
Man.
Yeah, it's mad.
Sorry, I don't know. We went on an absolute tangent. We're talking about NPL Victoria, but yeah, when I watch that is on my bucket list. I'd love to go down there and do one of those big games.
Well,
South Preston, one of those.
We're going to try and go in July or August, or this month, or start to try and go to one of the games. And obviously with the championship, we want to try and be about South Melbourne, Preston,
Victorians, that's just like two teams. Dandenong, who are doing well this season. They're
Avondale.
They get it.
So I said,
100%.
Avalon airport,
Avalon. So Heidelberg United remain top of NPL Victoria. They drew 2 each with Dandenong City.
Heidelberg's top.
Yeah.
Aye. Well.
But Avondale drew 1 each with Dandenong Thunder, so the gap stays at 3 points. South Melbourne beat Hume City 2-1. Altona Magic, did you see that? They scored a 96th minute winner.
Saints.
They were playing against Green Gully. It was 2 each. They were 10 men and they scored in the 96th minute to win 3-2. Oakley Cannons battled Preston Lions, finished 4-0. Port Melbourne lost 2-0 at home to St Albans Saints. And Melbourne Victory lost 2-1 at home to Melbourne Knights.
Oh, that's a big result.
Yeah, massive result. Yeah. So now there's 2 points between Melbourne Knights and it is Port Melbourne and Melbourne Victory above them.
And it's 3 get dropped.
Yeah, 3 go down.
Do they do a playoff or is it just?
I think it's 3 straight down.
3 straight down, and that's it. Like, so if you finish 11th, you're safe.
Yeah.
We gotta.
It's exciting that.
We gotta bump it up in New South Wales.
So what is it?
Just do it right now as well. They just
mid-season.
Fuck it.
Teams will be scrambling.
Get 2 days left of the transfer window, guys. Get on it.
What happens? Let's say NPL New South Wales or Football New South Wales, sorry, are sitting down going right 25, 26 season. When did he sit down to go, this is a structure for the next season? When can we make changes?
I have no idea.
I remember last year they brought out the changes in Victoria. It wasn't that long before the season started because there was a lot of uncertainty with the championship. And if teams are leaving the NPL to go up, what's going to happen then? So they just came out with a structure for the upcoming season, probably like 2-3 months before the season started. That they just said, 3 teams going down this year.
Yeah, I love that, man.
Yeah, look, I think that we spoke about it. Was it on or was it off? I don't know if we were on air or off.
We can repeat ourselves.
But I think that I'm good at that.
What about the Rockdale game versus Sutherland? Did you see that at the weekend?
What about the kettle at Optus?
I think that as you say, if Melbourne do 3, and you said
and they have
earlier,
a small, and we have 16, they have 14. I think the structure got changed, the old structure, and I think it also maybe COVID was a massive speed bump. One thing you have to say about is that New South Wales, they obviously listened to feedback. They tried first past the post, didn't work. They changed it. I think eventually what you'll get is them bumping it up.
They have to.
I almost feel like you have to because and it works both ways. You can't. Let's talk about your team, for example, Uni. If you finish second, you deserve to get promoted. Simple as that. Like second in a 30-round season. No, it's way Come on, you are like that deserves, in my opinion,
something
automatic reward.
Yeah, 100%.
If you want to be stiff, I'd say 2 automatic. 3 third does the playoff. Bare minimum. I still think that's not enough. And then you also have these teams that let's be real, have been towards the bottom in the top flight for a while now, who probably, I don't want to say deserve to get relegated, but you need to get like a refreshing of teams and stuff. And if Victoria can do 3 with 14, I think personally.
Do you know what? That's what, like, again, if you went 3 down from NPL 1, top 2 from NPL 2 go up, and then you go playoff third to 6th.
Yeah.
Oh, can you
have like
imagine
championship style.
Can you imagine? And then you could be coming 10th in your.
So you basically don't have finals for NPL 2. You just have
the
just
top
an old school championship, like English championship.
But then it keeps it so interesting for teams, as you say, maybe 10th and up, because you've got a chance of getting that 6th spot.
And then it also keeps it interesting in NPL, in the top NPL, because now you could be coming 10th. Let's say, for example, you're Manly or Sutherland or one of those teams. You're like, we need to get some wins together because we don't want to drift towards that bottom 3. Because last, just it seems ridiculous that you can only have potentially one team getting dropped.
Because that's what happened last year.
And that's what happened last year. Exactly. I feel like
it keeps the prestige of the NPL. I know it's NPL League 1, but NPL Grand Final. Because there's no other grand final still, it's just still playoffs. That means it still keeps that prestige.
And don't get me wrong, the promotion, like I like the promotion relegation playoff.
Amazing.
Awesome. Like it's so good. I just think for a 30-round season, if it was like a 16-round season, I could maybe understand. But that's such a long time.
Yeah.
Uni go all the way and then bang.
Well, we'll find that's right now with Spirit. Like, fuck me, it is hard to win a league.
Oh, it's very
no matter
hard.
what, like me at Spirit just now, I feel like we've hardly lost a fucking game and we're still third.
Yeah.
You're like, and we've still got you're like, you need to fucking be on it.
And how many times do you see it? Like teams just at the wrong person. One person gets injured at the wrong time. You run out of steam, and like you'll have a team that starts the season red hot, and then like Wanderers. Now that was external factors. Wanderers last season, they were runaway leaders. They ended up finishing 13th last season, something crazy like that. It's such 30 rounds is such.
It's exhausting. You put a lot into it.
That's hard.
Well done, boys. You finished second. What now? Same again next year. Aye. Magic.
It's tough.
It's brutal.
Right, let's go on to NPL 2 because that's probably the best league out of the 3 at the moment.
Yeah, so we played SC Raiders at the weekend, match of the round, we won 1-0. Nathan Roberts' dream debut.
Wow.
Scored the winner from the free kick.
Love the celebration as well.
Because you know what? It was a.
What was the chirp like? Because I was watching at dinner with a couple ex-NSW players. We're at dinner, bang, we pull up the game, we caught the last 20 minutes. It looked like a feisty. It looked like a derby.
Yeah, it was a feisty game, man. It was a good game to play.
I heard the first time you played them early in the season was the same.
What was the score the first game?
We beat them 3-1.
Oh, fucking good. 6 points against them.
Yeah, we beat them 3-1. It was. So
usually you're good against the big.
I know.
Usually just like you drop points to fucking Mounties and MacArthur and all the rest of it.
Say that every week, man. Exact. But do you know what? It was a good game. It was a game that I think that from our point of view, we've been matched the round a few times and they've been shit games. Like they've been shit.
Yep.
Maybe a 1 each but this was a good game to watch. Like, as it was.
It looked it.
Tackles were flying in, and it was only 1-0, but there was chances, and it was good. Fig, unfortunate.
Did you hear about him signing for GWS Giants? Just catches a fucking unbelievable, man. What is he up to?
Something where you don't.
I'm setting up for my goalkeepers again, right?
Fuck off, Fanwell Fig.
So,
Yeah, good luck with that one.
But you know what? I've heard Shaz's explanation, and I go on, Shaz.
Like, so if you watch him, so I'm watching it obviously in real time, right? And I'm watching him and I'm thinking he's going to header it. Like the way he's getting under the ball, he's shaping to header. But if you watch the video, he glances down and must see the yellow line and think the yellow line's his box.
That, to be fair, I fucking hate all those lines in the pitch.
100%.
Like, it is a bit
and
of
I think that's what he's done. He's obviously just saw a line and thought, brilliant, I'm inside, and caught it. And then as soon as he caught it, he's realised, and this is the funniest part for me, is he kicks the ball so quick, as if you straight away, what happened?
Going to hide the evidence of it.
It wasn't even just outside the box.
Yeah, it was a fair way.
And he caught it so comfortably.
Yeah.
No worries.
I know.
Good keeper though, good keeper.
Yeah, he's a very good goalkeeper. Fair play to Kevy though. Kevy came on for us and Kevy just runs,
Ran his head off the big fella,
he runs, and that's it. So he's put him under enough pressure to obviously cause a panic, and then Nate scores from the free kick.
So good debut for Nathan.
So I was actually talking to him last night. I was like, that's the dream. You win 1-0, you score the only goal of the game.
Big celebration from him as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Elevate up to the fucking. I love all that.
Because it was as I said, tackles were flying in throughout the game, so it was good.
And can I say, Claude as well showed why he was the captain, because he should have been sent off 100%.
Oh, mate,
and he would have known. We thought, okay, he's getting sent off 100%.
And the
but then he goes boom, and then he goes straight to the ref like a full politician. He just goes in. I'm like, that is a true captain.
The commentator sitting there being like, oh, Claude,
what did he do?
I think the boys did a bit of a go up and grabbed him and kind of flung him away, but Claude just stayed in his feet, so he gets the boy back and he kind of pushes him away. and this guy now hits the ground rolling about.
Oh, here we go. Gone.
Nah. And then the commentator's like, oh, Fabiano's going to get sent off here. And then,
But he does it and then like peels away as the ref's running in and just starts like pleading his case.
Yeah.
Like,
I've just been
that's
sacked, mate. I've just been sacked to Optus. Mate, I can't never card as well, fuck's sake.
It wasn't me, I didn't shit the kettle.
Clever. You need that, but you need a bit of smarts, don't you? He's obviously
Nah.
helped you out. Was that when it was like 0-0 at that point?
No, it was 1-0, it was like 90th minute.
Was it the big thing at the end? Right, okay. I bet you'd have lost him for next week, wouldn't you?
Aye. We
Potentially
play-
2
Who do you
games.
play this week?
Rydomere.
That'll be a tough game, man.
I'm fucking right about, yeah.
Did they win the weekend?
They won. No, they drew, I think.
Let's go through all the results.
No, they did win at the weekend, sorry. Tigers and Jets. Next, Kai Denton scored another 2 goals, but Jets won 3-2.
Massive for you guys.
Yeah, it's huge.
But they
do you know what though? Like,
struggles,
you
man.
see, massive for us. It's the league is a shambles.
But now, yeah.
Like, there's
If
five.
Rydomere beat you, they jump you.
Yeah, there's 5 points between 5 points from
They're
first to
7th.
8th.
That's crazy.
1 to 8 is 5 points between us.
Best league in
It's like
Australia.
do you know what I mean? Like, you talk about like meaningful games, and it's
Yeah.
like every game's like a
But
final.
that's also the biggest advertisement for what we've been speaking
100%,
about, which
man.
is you need more teams getting promoted because look at how SD and Northern Tigers have done in the Cup.
in the cup as well.
Look
Yeah,
how well you guys are doing in the league. Then you've got a team like Bulls,
Yeah.
Jets Academy, who you'd expect to be playing top flight football. Like,
Yeah,
that's the
100%.
biggest advertisement for. We need to bump up those spots. Jets, do you mind if I run to the bathroom? Is
no,
that
go
okay?
man, go.
You can talk shit about that.
Just
Don't
wait for
shit
that
in the
fucking
kettle. So then, as Jets beat Tigers 3-2. Tigers don't often lose at home either, and Jets scored their 3rd goal in the 92nd minute.
I mean, Jets again, being at 3 points, that killed him. That 3 points they lost. That's it. They're sitting on 34. If the dribble's up to date,
That dribble is up to
so they're on 34. That 3 points would have gave them level use.
Level
Sitting third.
points, aye.
Fuck, it's so tight, man.
Oh, yeah.
My prediction, or my guess was, I thought Jets would go up with Tigers.
Yeah.
But like obviously I want UNSW to go up for your sake and Claude's sake. And
So what are the clubs in and around there actually? Like who
so
are
it's
the?
Tigers first, Bulls
Yeah.
second, UNSW third, Blacktown Spartans fourth, who I've been fucking slowly kept up there. Estes are now fifth, Newcastle Jets sixth, Rydomere seventh, and Inner Lions eighth. And Inner Lions are on 34 and eighth, and Tigers are on 39 first, 5 points.
Jeez, and that's such a weird mix of clubs. Like you got
Exactly.
academies in there,
Yeah,
older
it's bizarre,
clubs as well.
And look, honestly,
Hakoah aren't far away, man.
they're 10 points off it. There's too many teams amongst
Yeah,
that.
there's two. I agree.
You'd have to go undefeated pretty much the whole rest of the season.
And then Spartans put themselves back in it with a 2-1 win over Bulls.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant, man.
Both Spartans goals came front post headers from corners. It's interesting. Inner Lions lost 1-0 at home to Hills United. By the way, Hills United, right, changed their gaffer. Gary Van Egmond went in.
Yep. They're in relegation battle initially, weren't they?
5th win in a row and their 4th straight clean sheet.
Wow. Where are they on?
Fucking hell.
Where are they now in the ladder?
They are now sitting
10th, I think.
They are now either so there's a bit of there's like the top 8, which
Yep.
is mental to say top 8, but then Hakoah, Hills, Bankstown, Canterbury, Bankstown, are all what's that 1, 2, 3, 4 teams are a little pack there that are sort of siloed away. Then you've got the bottom Rams, Dulwich Hill, Mount East, Boynig.
I was laughing. I get one of the boys that plays at Hills, Yuki, used to play with us at Rydomere.
Yeah.
Funny boy, man. So he's posted something saying, "Oh, here we come" or something, and I just sent him back saying, "I think he's left it a little bit too late." And his Japanese English isn't the best, right? And he just responded saying, "No, Chaz, I catch you." That's good. Good class, man. Then Hakoah and Mounties finished 3-2 to Hakoah. Hakoah were 2-0 up, and then James Kikowski scored 2 goals in 2 minutes. And that was the 80th and 82nd minute to make it 2 each. And then Nicholas Tooley scored his second 2 minutes later to get another win for Hakoah. Rydomere beat Dully 3-2. Adil Tosca scored in the 89th minute to Rydomere's 3rd goal. But they were losing 2-0. Zach Caligeru and Samuel Sinakis scored in the first half for Dully. MacArthur Rams, they beat Canterbury Bankstown 1-0. And Bonnyrigg and Bankstown, game gets stopped at half time with Bankstown 1-0 up. Shout out to Sam Galloway, obviously a horrible injury.
If anyone's seen that image, man,
Yeah,
nasty.
it's horrible.
Nasty.
So he's had his operation.
Yep.
So just now, obviously, hope that the road to recovery is as quick as it can be for him. We'll jump down to MPL 3. Zagreb, it's done.
They win again?
It's done.
Oh, they won.
They beat Prospect 2-0.
I sort of did. I seen that.
Todorowski scored again, and Mickey Neal scored their 8th straight win, and they're 17 points clear at the top.
Whoa. We've got a game in hand, South Coast, but even regardless.
Yeah, 17 points now.
Yeah.
They were on 2 weeks ago. Oh, nah, it's not done. It's not this. No, it's done, boys. It's done. Well done to them. Well, yeah, not quite yet, but you know. Central Coast United beat Dunbar 3-2. Gladesville Ride Magic lost 2-1 at home to Bankstown United. They equalised in the 89th minute, and then Mitch Cross scored in the 93rd minute.
I seen that. He scored in the last minute.
Aye.
He posted on Instagram.
Parramatta lost 2-1 at home to Nepean. So
Parramatta fell away.
yeah, they have. And then
They're 22 points off Zagreb.
yeah.
That's fucking nuts, man.
That's wild.
But then do you know what? They're 22 points off Zagreb, but they're only 5 points off
Yeah,
second.
I know, but I'm
yeah.
just thinking from the top, like Parramatta. From
Yeah,
where they were
because it started
obviously,
well.
when we had them on the show, and obviously after it, there was people from Parramatta saying like, "Oh, we're looking strong to go back up and all that." To be 22 points off the top of the league,
Aye,
it's a long
it's a
way
lot.
off it.
Not a shock, but not a shock, I suppose. Was Hawkesbury beat South Coast Flame
The Hawks have
4-2.
been brilliant, mate.
I know, they're
Aye.
flying.
They're joint second, pretty much.
Um, Granville Rage and Inner West Hawks drew 0 each. And Sydney Uni are no longer bottom of the table.
You win again?
They beat Camden Tigers 2-0.
Fucking flying these boys. Exams must have finished. Exams are finished. Full focus on football now.
Nah, so that's them off the bottom. Camden, they've switched places.
Fucking, oh my god, Camden boys, come on, you can't even. So they've only won their three games. Their 3 wins have came in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Now, can you imagine if they had relegation and you get sent to like the state league? That would be like then. So
Just you play SC Hellos every week.
So that is all of the MPL football.
Where do we go next, Jazz?
If we're going on to you two boys now.
Is that let's
Oh,
go?
well, do you know what? Before we go on to you two, you could only watch one movie. What would it be? The favourite movie of all time?
Oh, Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
brilliant film,
And
man.
what would you eat while you're watching it?
I would eat big bowl of pasta or
Are
a
you
pizza.
Italian?
You may have guessed.
What pasta we talking?
So just either my favorite is something called anamatriciana, which is like it's almost like you know like it has the sugo, the red sauce, and then it has like guanciale pieces in there, like a little bit of pepper. Beautiful.
What's guanciale?
Guanciale is I think it's the pig's, like it's here. I don't even know what that's called.
Okay.
Your chin?
Whatever. No, what's under the chin? Like this little bit here.
Right, okay.
So that's what I would have.
Guanciale? I've
Either
never
that or
heard of
to be honest, I'm a big eater, just in general.
Yeah.
Like so, I'm a junk food guy. Sweet tooth and savoury tooth as well. Like I can eat it all.
Oh, no.
Just a tooth guy.
Just a tooth guy. Just got teeth. Yeah.
That's a disaster, man.
Yeah, that would be my so pasta, Goodfellas.
That sounds
Lovely.
tremendous, eh?
I'm watching Surf's Up, I reckon.
Somebody else mentioned that.
Surf's Up.
Yeah, okay.
Somebody else mentioned that. I think it was
Good movie.
Harrison.
Oh, was it actually?
Aye,
No
he was-
way. Oh
aye,
my god.
he was-
Actually, he always talks about that movie. Actually,
Oh, does he?
references Chicken Joe a lot. I like that, or I like Oceans, the Oceans movies, Oceans 11s.
okay, yeah.
and that.
I quite enjoyed them.
And I'm screening into a Chivapi role, 100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
Vapuro.
Yeah, from
Very
Bankstown
nice.
City.
And then karaoke song.
You know what? It'd be
Pavarotti.
something. It'd be something. It'd be something. Bee Gees. Bee Gees.
Oh, really? Aye.
Michael Bublé.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, wide range. Yes.
Yeah, so something that's
high-pitched
easy,
to
like
beat.
like something that's just gonna
Frank Sinatra.
rally up the troops. You know, like everyone knows.
But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not an answer, mate.
Okay,
I want a song, please.
Nah, you're up next. You pick.
Ooh, gosh, so many. Anything Michael Bublé. Oh, you know, Bee Gees will go. How Deep Is Your Love? Bee Gees.
Oh.
Aye,
yeah.
Nice.
Oh shit! No, well, look, I grew up in a small country town. Spent a
Give
lot
me
of time
something
in
country.
in pubs growing up, Aussie pubs. So I'd go like Darryl Braithwaite Horses,
Oh,
something along
somebody
that
said that
line.
last week as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Who said that last week? Or last week?
I can't remember. I was going to ask something else there. Oh no, I was going to say something else. So we do our fines every at UNSW every one Thursday at the end of the month, right? So we did them last week, and then Fultz and Claus have now decided to get a wheel, a spinning wheel. So we've flipped for obviously whatever you get, that's your fine. But on this wheel now, there's like
doubles or something.
no. So your flips for either double or nothing. So that's separate
Standard.
now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
now
yeah.
this wheel get brought in. So it's like the amount of minutes you played at the weekend, you get fined, or the amount of minutes you didn't play. But then there's good times
Hold on,
on
the minute minutes you play, so you played 90 minutes, what do you get fined?
$90, $1 for every minute.
So if you play 90 minutes, you get fined $90.
Yeah, if it lands on it in the wheel.
Oh, I thought you just meant in general.
No.
Oh, Gabby Hammy's gone.
No, so just, but obviously this
Right,
is just
okay.
that's the first time we've done it. So like, and then if you didn't play, the amount of minutes you didn't play, you can get fined. But then it was like free dinners, $20 credit. Like there was just
Oh,
Okay,
bonuses
it's
as
good
well.
and bad.
good and
Yeah.
bad on the wheel, right? So then one
good
of them was karaoke. So we were going to the region after it, and obviously with a few new boys, so they had to sing anyway.
Yeah.
What did they sing back before you got in that?
Oh, I can't remember. I've got it on my phone.
Any good ones?
Kai sang Backstreet Boys.
Right.
Great
Um,
shout.
Joe sang the script, I think. And I left before Nathan's because he fucking was messing about, and it was at the Regent, and there was like, they must be like Regent diehards. There was guys that were just on repeat. So by the time Nathan, there was like 6 songs first before he was on, man. I mean, they were up singing and dancing like they knew everybody. But back to the thing, right? So Connor Quilligan spun the wheel. I mean, Connor Quilligan's like a big kind of quiet guy, right? And it's landed on karaoke.
Oh no.
Oh no, what's
Mate,
going?
he was absolutely devastated. Like, see that way someone's face is like,
Just dropped.
fuck, man. So then he shot off early to start having beers. So then he's
Dutch
sitting,
courage.
so then he's sitting while the other boys are singing, and he's literally just sitting like this.
Lovely. Oh,
He was fucking
you see that in
devastated, man.
the pre-season sing songs. You see the people in the team who are just sitting quiet the whole time, going, "You're right." Like, just, I don't know what to sing. I don't know what to say. Like, they're shitting themselves, man. Like, mate, it's just be shite.
Oh, it was
You're
so,
good, you're great, more slaughtered,
it
unless
was
you're incredible.
so funny, man. It was.
You just got to be rubbish and own it.
As I was saying, you either be rubbish and own it, or you need to be exceptional. Like, so
Yeah,
exceptional
there's nothing
you
in
can't be
between.
slagged. If you're in between, you're getting slaughtered. Like, you're trying too hard, mate. Calm down.
But it was so funny. But
did
it
you
actually
sing?
went well. I didn't sing.
How come?
So I've been there for 2 years.
Oh, when you first joined, I mean.
I didn't sing either.
Oh, that's got to be addressed.
Yeah,
Claude,
that does. Yeah.
boys need to sort that out.
No problem. I'll sing. I don't mind.
What would you sing? You've already told us.
I said Fast Cars, Stacey Chapman.
So there you go. Karaoke this weekend, boys. At Regent.
Yeah,
Chaz,
let's do
fast cars, someone record it, send it in. Thank
Sounds
you.
good. I'll bring my guitar.
Cheeky.
On to you, boys.
Well, before you got any boys, just quickly mention to deploy. Bit of respect for the sponsors, man. That's every week, mate. I always need to remind them.
Do you know what? It's actually just a wee
14
bit
bits of
further
paper.
back,
I was going to
man.
let you forget it, huh?
Mate, do you know
14 bits of paper, no deploy.
what I was going to do
Nah,
at
it's
the
on
end
you.
of the show, I was going to take my thing off because I've obviously got deploy underneath. Do you know what I mean?
Nah, I'm
There
look at
we
this.
go. Proper representing.
Right, well, you going to read that out?
Yeah, I'm just.
Nah, Joe, deploy. Let's give a sponsor. World Cup final tonight.
Yep.
Deploy's involved in it. Apart from the World Cup final, obviously the men's side heavily involved in the youth game, man.
Yeah, heavily in the youth game, local grassroots in particular.
Yeah.
Big
Probably
supporters of
number
that.
one. Probably number one ball. winning
Yeah,
youth.
yeah, I'd say, yeah, definitely in Sydney. I think we do. So we're partnered with, I believe, 13 out of the 16 associations in
Well, who's
Sydney
the three?
Metro.
We'll go into them.
We should name and shame. I couldn't even tell off the top of my head, but yeah, no. So big part of the game, a big part of what we do is supporting local and growing really from the grassroots up.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of what I do working with Deploy as well. As I go out on the weekends, Saturday mornings with the local clubs and the juniors kicking around.
Brilliant.
Thanks. Yeah.
I've been seeing you're doing a challenge with the goals, all the goals.
Yeah, so that was something we did at the start of the year with all the associations we partner with. Invited them down, all the clubs to send in a warrior to represent their club and put them through the ring with the challenge, a bit of a passing and a little crossbar hit at the end if they can do that. And then whatever teams do the best in the men's and the women's would win their clubs $5,000 to use
Oh,
at
did ya?
Deploy. Yeah.
Can I have a shot?
Huh?
Can I have a
we should
shot?
we should actually get you boys down to have a great.
Oh,
have a go at it.
100%. I'd do it. 1,000,000%. I'll do it left footed and right foot.
Oh yeah. But I have to post it. I have to post it regardless, whatever you do. Yeah.
What about when does the prize get given at the end of the year?
End of the year. So we know who's won now, based on because we did it all before the season even
Right,
kicked off.
okay.
so
So you're
it's
just drip feeding it?
Yeah, so just drip feeding it throughout the year, engaging with those clubs that we worked with. Yeah, so it's just a content strategy for us as well to get
It's
stuff
quite good
for the
actually.
entire season. Yeah.
It's one of them that I, obviously, because I like football, but I actually watch some of them. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll stop and watch because it's like, there's 4 wee goals, I think, so you need to get it in all the wee goals, and then you need to hit the crossbar at the end.
Aye. There you go. Aye. Well, deploy. Thank you as always for the support, and we'll be heavily involved tonight.
And for giving you the time off to come and talk to us.
Thanks, mate.
Right, let's crack on to the two boys.
So we'll start with you, Joe. Right. So obviously you are heavily involved in football. So looking at your younger years and your kind of upbringing, what was it that kind of helped develop and this love for the game?
Yeah, well, look, honestly, I shouldn't care about the NPL game whatsoever with my upbringing. So I grew up out in a town called Milford, which is about 3.5 hours west of Sydney. I've only been in Sydney for about 2.5 years now.
Right.
But yeah, growing up, not really any football culture out there. You'd play on the weekends and then afterwards you'd go to the pub and watch the footy, the rugby league.
Yeah.
But yeah, grew up, went to uni, moved down here, and then...
What did you study at uni?
I did a Bachelor of Business in Sports Management,
Right.
which then kind of got me thinking about like the business side of sport, and just football in particular caught my eye as like just an undervalued asset in Australia. And then with that, started getting obsessed with like the history of the game as well. So learning about the NSL and all these clubs that were, you know, historic powerhouses. But then, yeah, so I moved down to Sydney and I finally got to go out and explore these clubs. And then I started my socials accounts as well, where I could kind of showcase the history of the clubs and the experiences you can have at grounds, whether that's eating the food, the games, or, you know, where they're looking to go in the future with the championship and stuff. But in terms of how I fell in love with it, honestly, I probably didn't really care about it until the Wanderers came into the A-League. And yeah, them, in particular, the Asian Champions League final probably opened my eyes to like the, you know, wider world of football at the same time. But yeah, and then I was in and out of an A-League fan supporting the Wanderers. But honestly, since I've moved down to Sydney, I've just fell in love with the NPL space in particular. I think there's so many cool stories out there to tell, and that's kind of why I do what I do on my personal stuff, is just, yeah, tell the stories that probably don't get the attention they deserve.
Yeah, I do think obviously the show is based on this, but there is something about the NPL, like you said, NPL 2, best league in Australia sort of thing. But I genuinely love the bits and pieces of the NPL. Everyone has got a like, especially the guests we have on, they've all got a mad story.
Yeah.
And even you boys involved in it from a different perspective, you've all got your own different bits in the football community, and it's like it comes from a proper love of football, because you're not sitting watching the NPL New South Wales live stream of a game like you at the weekend unless you fucking love it. I mean, just sometimes the camera view's not great, there's glare on it.
Yeah.
You're still sticking through watching it. If that was a professional, like Man City are playing Tottenham and it's a pure glary thing, you'd be like, get this fucking off. I'll catch the highlights later. But you're sitting on a Sunday afternoon watching the game, and everyone involved in it. Like, one thing you mentioned about Sydney United game, we finished it, and as I left, like say, an hour after kick-off and walking up to the car park, and there was still a group of Sydney United fans, like older guys. It reminded me so much of you being back home, because they were standing outside in the car park debating the game. I thought, we're so poor compared to last week, and then, do you think so? And I thought, that's class. Like, you don't see that a lot, because like Spirit is very family orientated. It's people parents kind of watch their son or daughter play. And even other grounds, it's just people get in a car and leave. This was actual fans of the team debating, like proper love. I love that, man.
Yeah.
Don't get enough of that. And I think the cultural aspect, like you said, it's easy to fall in love with NPL, because the A-League, like Chaz and I, when we got here, tried to follow the A-League. we genuinely tried to follow the A-League. It was just hard to, I would say, fall in love with, because in Europe it comes from culture or passion or where you're from. There's something you attach yourself to. I couldn't get that with A-League. It was just, there was not a lot of people at the games. The game's still alright. We mentioned this before at COVID, when COVID games were on and there was no fans. It was still hard to watch even elite football without the fans. So to watch stadiums that are mostly empty, if in a smaller stadium, would it be better? Maybe. If you could have the atmosphere, flares, etc., maybe. But I feel like that the NPL, there's just something about it, because you've got the Greeks versus the Italians and it's just something about it, man. It's just amazing. It has that European feel to it. So I think it's very easy to fall in love with the NPL versus the A-League, would you still say the A-League's still not growing, but still got a long way to go, do you know what I mean? For where it could be or should be compared to the rest of the world, because there's still more fans to get involved. I feel like the marquee players have dropped off in terms of the standards that they used to be. Used to get the Del Pieros and whoever else coming through. Even Emil Heskey, who's not exactly unbelievable, but he fucking played with Liverpool. But you don't really get many of them anymore. I know this year we had Douglas Costa and Mata, but Mata's not played a ton, has he?
Nah.
But they're just good names to get involved, I suppose. But Douglas Costa, I mean, how good was he really? Like, compared to the names you get?
It's hard. It's just difficult, because I think that we've said that there's not partly due to a lack of support, but there's not. Football doesn't have a huge pot of money in this country. And I think that when you don't have a lot of money at the top, everything below it becomes very difficult. Do you know what I mean?
But I think there's things that are free that are easy. I mean, like, people could do more to get people to a game.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, like, it doesn't it cost money to do that. It costs money, obviously, infrastructure and all this stuff, all the bits and pieces. But I mean, engagement, like Harry Phelps talked about when he was here, just engaging people more. And you mentioned it as well, talk about like how the other media side of the game, they want to try and put it down as much as they possibly can. But we need to counteract that somehow by fucking engaging more people in a positive manner. Yeah. Right, okay, when a flare happens, it's fucking everywhere. Right, so why can't we have all the good shit fucking everywhere?
Yeah.
There's not, because every single person you know who's involved in football is mad about it.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I quite like football. They're fucking obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Play it, don't play it, watch it. Their son's in it, their daughter's in it. They love it, obsessed with it. And you're not doing it for a full-time job, well, most people aren't.
Yeah.
So to do it that much, like how passionate you are about it. Like, you usually need to have 4 or 5 projects to make it full-time. Like you boys know as well, you need to have a few bits and pieces going on to make it full-time here in Australia. So you'd be obsessed with it, you live and breathe it. There has to be more done. This is when I think the content, people who are in, like YouTube boys are involved in it, creating content, like that's where the eyeballs are now. We need more people like that to grow the football space, because it's not going to come from a media company, like an Optus. They're going to do the big shit, but the foundational stuff is where it's all going to come from, because it's the most participated youth sport. Yeah. So it has to come from there on the way up. Because in 5-10 years it will be fucking, as we say, football's coming.
Football is coming.
It's definitely coming. It's a weird disconnect, isn't it? Like, I feel like, as you said, it's the most participated youth sport. I don't think it's ever been more popular. And what I mean by that is, I'm talking football as a sport. Everyone watches the Premier League. Everyone talks about it. Everyone plays fantasy. Everyone loves it. As you said, football fans are mad. But there's a disconnect with our local league. And look at the time when you got into it, the golden era of the A-League. Del Piero comes in, ripple effect. Australia wins the Asia Cup, massive. And I remember the derby, 70,000 people at a derby. Right. There was an interest.
What happened?
Oh, it's such a long story. Look, some of it was external, and some of it was football's own doing as well. I think we had a second chance, and the second chance I remember was, now here's the thing with the A-League, of course. Now, the A-League, I feel like the goalposts always get moved with the A-League. The football's shit. You watch the game, football's great. Yes, it's not the Premier League. Of course it's not the fucking Premier League. But man, I watch plenty of Premier League games, Serie A games, La Liga games. They're rubbish. I can watch a terrible game of football. It's not just, sometimes you watch an A-League game, it's fucking great. Then you say, oh, well, like, the players are crap. Man, let's look at the last World Cup. We had a golden opportunity where we had the Socceroos. No one had any expectations for the Socceroos. We get out of the group, keep 2 clean sheets. Socceroos never kept a clean sheet in the World Cup. We go toe-to-toe with Argentina, who won the World Cup. We score the first goal against France. Look at who scored the winner. Who scored the winner against Denmark? Matthew Leckie. Where was he playing? The A-League. Who scored the opening goal against France? Craig Goodwin. Where was he playing? The A-League. People were getting hyped. Then you go back to, I remember I was in Qatar for the World Cup. I remember being there. The week after, the A-League starts again. The crowds were buzzing. Go and see your World Cup heroes. And that's what I think the A-League can be. It's one of the things the A-League can be, which is, look, yes, it's not the creme de la creme, it's not the Premier League, but hey, it's a launch pad. It's a league that is good enough to supply Socceroos, clearly, and it's where you can see the next generation of superstars, and in the end of the day, it's ours. You can watch this at a normal time, 7 o'clock at night. Normal, you go with your mates, you have a laugh, you're selling the experience. I know that's a little bit of an American model, and some football purists might not like that, but essentially that's what it is. You're selling an experience that you can go with 10 of your mates. Like those Sydney United fans, that's a great example. You can go, I was doing an ARPIA game. I know I'm going bouncing between NPL and A-League, but you can go stand in the Cove. People have so much fun. That's what football can give you. I was doing an ARPIA game. There were like 5 young ARPIA kids with like drums and a megaphone and stuff. Like, this is the best. That's what football can give you. And you can have that. And then guess what else you can have? You can also wake up at 2 a.m., watch your Premier League, watch your Serie A. We had a golden opportunity. I feel like we had momentum after that World Cup. We had the Matildas in a home World Cup. We had the Socceroos that did so well. Then that debacle with the grand final. And then the fans that stormed the pitch and everything else. That set football back. And I think that's what it's been in the case of with the A-League is every time they take a step forward, the wonder is winning the Asian Champions League. That I can honestly say will never happen again in our lifetime. Winning an Asian Champions League against teams that have no salary cap, majority of their run was played in their off season. They're going up against teams like Al Hilal. Al Hilal just beat Manchester City. You know, that we'll never see that again. That will never happen in our lifetime. So every time I feel like we've had momentum, and this is for another chat. Every time we've taken one step forward, we take 2 steps back. Some of them is self-inflicted, of course. I'm not going to say, oh, it's, you know, the rugby league or the AFL. And I don't want to sound like I love all sports. I love rugby league. I watch AFL. I respect them. But, you know, we're fighting that battle as well. And then some of it is self-inflicted as well.
But
and that's...
Do you not think, though, right, you say the debacle, right? See, when people are kind of putting you down for so long, there comes a point when there's a reaction or a response, and obviously football fans don't always do things in the best ways.
Yep.
But if you keep pushing them down, there's going to be a point where it comes back. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard. Oh, is that, sorry.
Yeah, and it shows you how passionate people are about, like, look, and I think that execution of that was obviously wrong.
Yeah.
That was absurd for that to happen. But yeah, people care about this sport, and people might just go, I hate it when people say, like, it's just it's the cop out, you know, it's like, oh, the A-League, like, who would care about that? Man, there are people that do. Yeah. And like, you should. Now, I'm not saying you should be a diehard and get a Cove tattoo and stuff, but man, it's good football out there. And if you're like, you can, there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect. And
so just interrupt. The only thing I'm going to say about the A-League, it makes it, I think that disconnect, I think maybe like the league itself, no consequence. That's a massive issue. Like,
of course.
Like, that's what, because again, for me, like I could say, oh, well, the A-League, there's no fans watching an NPL game. I will happily watch an NPL game, happily, but I've got a vested interest in it. For me to have a vested interest in any game, if someone said to me, oh, I'm watching a Polish game here, oh, right, random. Oh, but if they win, they hang me. You go like, all right, okay, JK. Oh, instantly go. Or someone says, oh, I put $50 on them. You go, oh, cool, I'll watch this.
Yeah.
But I watch A-League games and you go, well, and Georgievsky was saying it was here as well. It was like, after a certain point, teams just pack it in, fuck it, next year. We'll worry about next year.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's as I said, that some of it is it's not even self-inflicted, it's institutional. And how do you change that? And that's the second division is trying to. Look, I don't know this for sure, but I like for certain, but I don't know the exact date, but I know there's A-League teams that have it in their kind of constitution. Like, you know, you buy an A-League franchise, you come in, you have it written, it's something like
2034.
2034, you cannot be promoted and relegated. Now, I can understand why the owner of this A-League club would want that, because they struggle to pull fans to begin with, and we don't have it engraved in our football culture where, like, hey, like let's use Newcastle United, for example. Newcastle have been relegated a couple of times to the Premier League. When they go down, they get more fans at the championship because they know, like, we need to get this team back up. So it's that I hate it, but I can understand why they want that. So it's so hard. I mean, in a perfect world, I mean, as much as I love the A-League, if you wanted to bring that in to have more consequence, you almost are probably better off just blowing it up. Start again. We pick the A-League teams that, you know, are self-sufficient, or at least will have the closest thing to it, like the big A-League clubs. We know who they are. And then we bring in some of these NPL teams and we make a new league. And it's so hard because it's so institutionally ingrained. Like, how do we it's not, you know, it's so easy for someone who comes from overseas, oh, but just have promotion relegation. It's not that simple. It's hard. And and to be honest, I don't know the answer.
I don't think anyone does. I think that's why it's probably been delayed for so long. There's a lot of logistics and legal things. But
I think we have seen like it work before, where I think where we can get the A-League to the best point. Now, I don't like using American example because there's 350 million people and they are such a sport mad country. You know, like you can have North Carolina, for example, can sell out 80,000 people for their MLS games. We don't have an equivalent like that in Australia. We've got a tenth of their population, but we've seen how the A-League can work. And I think that golden generation was a period, and now it's changed into more of like a quote unquote developmental league, which I think there's a place for that too. You can that can still be entertaining, but I think the problem with the A-League now is they've lost so many of those fans, you know, through one thing or another. Like, you know, you speak to a lot of Wanderers fans. Hey, I went to the RBB, but you know, the club or the governing bodies turned on us, so I turned away from it. And then that's where the NPL comes in, because a lot of those people now have turned to the NPL. And it's,
so for you, Joe, you've come through that, being a fan in the A-League.
Yeah.
And you said that they're now fell in love with the NPL. Now the Championship's a fucking great little segue for you, because you're getting a potential of a potential NPL teams going in that professional environment. Do you see a future where the NPL, B-League and A-League merge of some form?
I think we're going to learn a lot about the future and the direction of Australian football over the next 2-3 years.
Right, okay.
Because if we get the championship up and running at the end of this year and it's successful, then next step is to get a full home and away league set up and running. And if that is the case and it continues being successful, meanwhile the A-League continues to kind of stagnate, I think that would have to be the future plan for it.
Yeah.
I think the worst thing that can happen is you don't do that, and maybe second division outgrows the A-League and the A-League just completely blows up and all the teams are gone with it. I think there's definitely a middle ground where essentially you want the second division to fill in the gap between the NPL and the A-League,
course,
right? You want the most ambitious clubs from down here to be able to push higher than they are right now, like South, Sydney United, all these clubs. And I think the A-League, like you said before, has to be really careful that there isn't just dead rubber games after 10 rounds of a season, right? I'm not the biggest fan of how many teams make finals in the league as well. There's no relegation. I think there needs to be more stakes. And with more stakes, the games are more important, right? There's more investment from the general fans, as well as players as well. Like you're looking after your careers at the same time. But look, if I had to predict moving forward, I think we will. I think that will be the end goal and the end outcome is that there will be emerging at some point. As for how that looks or how it happens, I got no idea. I can imagine there'll be casualties along the way, particularly for the A-League clubs, the lower end ones who, are struggling as things are right now.
Yep.
But I think a goal for Australian football has to make it more relatable to the average fan.
Yep.
If you're not connected to a club in the A-League right now, you don't really have any want to support that part of Australian football. If there is a club you're connected to in the NPL, if they can never get to that point, there's no need for you to be invested in the A-League, right?
Yep. True.
So yeah, look, I think that's why the NPL right now is booming in a sense. It's because people can relate to these clubs. Like there's clubs, we've got close to 30, 36 clubs, probably more than that actually.
Well,
close to
40,
40
yeah, like 47 clubs
47.
representing from Wollongong to the Central Coast up to Newcastle. Like there's a club there for someone to have an investment towards. Mm-hmm. And I think the fact that they can do that locally might also at the same time take away from the fact that there's these franchise clubs that you can't really build that same connection towards. And the fact that your local club can never reach those heights, it makes you not care as much about the A-League at the same time.
So from your, just go back to you personally,
Yeah.
at the moment you're doing a lot of bits and pieces around football. What does your day-to-day look like in terms of, so you're doing a bit with Deploy, you do a bit of social content stuff, so what is the goal for you as a, what do you class yourself as a content creator? Or
Content creator, yeah. So look, I'm full-time with Deploy, but then in my spare time, I do my own little content and stuff. Plan for me long-term would be to have something set up where I can look to maybe do that full-time at the same, as well, if it can grow to that point. But to get there, you need the game to grow as well. Because what I talk about is very niche, right? Like it's a tough space to crack into, especially if you want to, make money out of it.
To have a niche like that, and you're the guy for that, it's got a lot of value as well.
Yeah. And I think, and the reason I'm back it and I'm invested in doing it is because I have so much faith in where this game can go. Like we've discussed, there's so much infighting along the way to get through. Hopefully, if we can all push it, if we do, I'm positive if we all push in the same direction, the game will grow massively.
Yeah, see, I think that...
But that's the issue, right?
That is the issue. And then we spoke about it
and
in
you
terms
jumped
of...
it in your social media post you did as well, same thing. It's like, you got in Claude's probably the first person mentioned it in the second episode we did.
Ever.
About how every other code is just like, we're cricket fans, you all support cricket. But football's like, I like A-League, I like NPL, I like Premier League, I like this. It's like, you're shit, you're what the fuck?
I know, and as you said, going back to the niche, it's like we're the biggest sport in the world, we're the best sport, we know it, but we're also how does that make sense? Like, how is it such a juxtaposition? How are we a niche?
Yeah.
And then that's the problem. We have so much infighting and so much internal politics and all this other garbage just within our own sport. Heaps of people, Ellie Menjum says it all the time, it's so true. It's like we need to stick together. That's the one thing. And as you said, if we all can work together, we all know the potential of this game. That's why something like the second division is so exciting, I think.
Yeah. And then looking at that second division, what are your thoughts on it? In terms of it's not far away.
Yeah.
We still don't know all the details of
fucking
such.
buzzing for it, by
but
I'm fucking buzzing for it.
What are your thoughts on it?
I'm loving it. I think it's the best thing we've introduced in a long time. Sorry, we got some reindeers on the roof.
Christmas in July, mate.
Yeah. No, but honestly, I love it. Personally, I wish we could have maybe introduced it a couple of years earlier off the back of all that momentum off the World Cup, Women's World Cup. Something then I think would have been perfect. But right now, clubs have had more time to prepare. We've got a format that isn't, I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's going to give us something.
Minimal viable product, mate. Just get it out.
That's it. Get it out.
That was the thing. They had to get something out. I think that's what it...
Change it. And that's the thing I keep saying, and a few people have said it on the show, is it's good chance there'll be a lot of things that go wrong, and people don't like that. Like you're saying, an Optus, people comment things anyway. There's going to be negativity. There's always negativity about anything, especially with change. People don't like change, but that's the point in it. Get it out. That's shite. Yeah. Cheers. Like we'll talk about the NPL. Oh, mean finals back. Okay, cool. We've tried this. We know it doesn't work practically.
Yep.
We've listened to your feedback. We can't please everyone. We've changed it. This is a crack, because then we've got logistics involved, finances involved.
And that's the big thing, isn't it? Like the logistics of how do you make a home and away season? Like, because they announced it last year. How do you make a home and away season in one season? You have potentially teams travelling to Western Australia, which is what's going to happen. Sydney United and Arpia's group. There's going to be a Western Australian team and a South Australian team in there. So logistically, it's going to be a nightmare. Financially, it's a nightmare. Now we know, you guys would know as well. Like some clubs are probably more financially equipped than others. This has the potential as well, which is the scary thing. This has the potential to wipe clubs out. The foundation teams put a big chunk of money. Very handsome fee. You know, they were pulling on donations. There's the fate of clubs on the line here, which is scary. I think that this Champions League format, we could call it, I think it's the best way to get something out. Even Siri wants to have an opinion on it. But I think that's the only way to... This is as you said, it's not perfect. We needed to get something out. The biggest disaster would have been if we had all this hype,
and nothing.
Teams investing, and then nothing. And it fails before it's even started, which is... I'm not going to say it looked like it was going to happen, but we weren't hearing anything. We weren't hearing anything. And I think the biggest one is accessibility. That's what's so good about the NPL is you can walk there. A lot of times, what is it, $10? Like you wake up, you've spent $20 in New South Wales. You know, like what's $10 to go watch a football 100%. Game? Then you can watch it for free on YouTube. So I think where it lands, and I haven't heard anything, but where it lands is it's got to be on free to wear or at least free. If it is on YouTube, whatever, accessibility is huge. You can't, in my opinion, put the whole league behind the paywall. Now, whoever picks it up, let's say this broadcaster has a free-to-air, app, and that one game is exclusive on that, that's fine. But I think where it lands is massive.
No, I agree. I think this whole bit should be like this 1 year. Everyone just give as many eyeballs on it as possible.
Yep.
Anyone who talks about it, be positive, be positive. We can all talk about it. Negativity is easy to talk about. We can all be negative about fucking anything. Like it's pissing with rain, it's cold, it's wet, that's crap, that shit. It's easy to do that. Find the positive in it. If you're involved in football, just find the positive in it. There'll be something. Fucking promote the arse off it. Get to the games, watch the games, whether you're watching it at home, whether ideally it's free to air. You need eyeballs. People who are involved in the clubs, do everything you can to engage your fans. Make it the Americanise of, like, if you're Greek or you're Italian, fucking have the souvlaki, have the pastas, have the fucking, like, celebrate your culture.
100%.
That's what we love. That's not even just sport, that's life. Everyone connection. Like, I don't know about you, but like at our high school, we used to call it the wogs. The ethnics used to sit in what was called Waganon. You feel connected to your community. You feel naturally connected to your community. It's natural. And, Australian football in the past has tried to almost ethnically cleanse that. Like they did that with the injury that when they just banished these clubs. If that happened today, it'd be called racism, and it's because it was. And now with the game on its knees in this country, and I mean the local game, they've now tried to bring that back because they know that's what's going to get people to games. That connection, as you said. Look, it might be playing on stereotypes or whatever it is, but that's what football, that connection.
But you say it's playing on stereotypes, but that's what it is.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Look, hey, I'm Italian. I love pizza and pasta. Who cares? You know what I mean? It's great. You are going to feel, as Joe says, you might feel more of a connection to an NPL team than to an A-League team. Like when I was a kid, I grew up, I was a massive, massive Sydney FC fan. I used to drag my mum to games. She didn't know a thing about football. I used to drag my dad to games. I used to love. Then, naturally, as I got older, I kind of just became a fan of the league. But to be honest, I feel more of a connection maybe to a team like Apia because my dad is Italian. He migrated to Australia 50 years ago. He lives in that area. So that I feel more of a connection to them than to any A-League team. And I'm sure that's the case for a lot of young football fans in this country, and we need to embrace that. As you said, we can't be turning these people away and ethnically cleansing these teams. We need to be embracing all those stereotypes and all those connections to cultures and anything that's going to bring people to games. And I hope, and I'm only speaking on the behalf of New South Wales here, I hope that when the second division starts, it just wakes up some of those.
It will.
I really do. I really hope, because I look at Melbourne and I go, wow, they've nailed it. And I used that example before, the kids that are our age. Let's just call it how it is. You can watch some NPL games in New South Wales. The football is fantastic, but there's 200 people there. 150 of them are youth players that got told they have to hang around, and the other 50 are girlfriends and partners. And that's that's how it is. So I hope that when this second division starts, people know it's happening, because I know there's still some people that think it's not happening.
Eyeballs, actually, clubs have got individual responsibility to take care of their own community. I think it was again Harry. It was when SC Ellis. We asked him that question. We says, right, because that was his whole thing is I want to you need to promote the game. And I'm like, well, it's all right saying that because I say it all the time, but how do you do that? And he's like, well, you need to activate the fans in local areas. Like, do you have the Apia kits or in cafes around Leichhardt? Do you you promote? So you go to a local pub and you see the Sydney Olympic jersey and you're in Belmore. Like, you feel like, oh, I'm in Sydney Olympic land here.
Yeah.
Like, you need to feel part of. Like, you want to go to the game and you see it everywhere. And the club needs to take charge of that. And like, you're going to have content creators everywhere. If a couple of clubs reach out to content creators, local, say, do you want to come part of this? They'll bite your hand off it. There's millions of people who want to be involved in it.
And they're doing that. Like what Apia and Marconi did with you guys was fantastic for the derby. And like, if you need to get, I always use this example, and it like Olan Tekers, you know who Olan Tekers is, right? Yeah. He does stuff with the Parramatta Eels, and he's fantastic. He's great. He's funny. He's hilarious. He does stuff with the Parramatta Eels, and he did stuff with Western Sydney Wanderers.
Yeah.
And I saw there were some fans that didn't like it. What are we getting this idiot for? I'm like, man, are you guys morons? If someone like Olan, who's got such a massive following, like, I don't know what he's got, 500,000, but like they are a connected 500,000.
Yeah.
I've been at things where like events where he gets swarmed by thousands of kids. So that's someone that I would say, if you can convert, Olan, this isn't even someone from Australia, if you can convert 5 kids that were rugby league fans, didn't know anything about football, and you made them Western Sydney Wanderers, even casual fans, how is that a bad thing?
Of course.
That's an amazing thing. So that's one aspect. We need to be people like Joe, we're doing
100%,
God's work, you know,
right.
like they're doing that. They're doing it. A lot of these people do it for free content, SC Hellos, those type of things. We need
and
to,
these clubs don't know how to, like, I know it, because again, many clubs, they don't really have any social media presence, and like, again, whether you think it should be involved in football or not, you think, oh, social media, that is the world.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You need to be on social media, you need to be pushing the game. And again, there's been games, and I remember it was at A-League last year, same problem. Someone said to me, oh, the A-League semi-finals, and I was like, oh, they're playing MacArthur's playing Sydney United. I'm like, Sydney FC, sorry. I'm like, didn't know.
I had no
like,
idea.
there's nothing about it anywhere. There's not enough publicity about it. But it should be fun. You watch, and you're in the UK, that's all it's on the fucking telly. This week, Monday Night Football, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Then don't forget, on Wednesday we have this, and on Thursday we've
Championship
got
on this day. And
you know exactly what's happening, when it's coming up. But NPL games, there's no reason why clubs can't go, right, do you know what, we'll put a wee bit of cash. The players get paid decent coin. Take a wee bit of cash. Half the content creators are not going to get paid a ton of money.
Yeah.
How do we give them some dough, make you a wee part-time job, part of the club, and look at the job. I mean, Jude does a great job with Apia.
I was just about to say that. And the club, I think some clubs have woken up this season.
But not enough of them.
Apia, Marconi, Sydney Olympic, and there's more. Like
United as well.
Sydney United, their socials are fantastic. Like they've lifted their game, and of course that's like one aspect of it. But you need to nail that, as you said, because you're fighting for. Time is so precious now. Not many people watch free-to-air TV. A lot of the time, they're parked up. Like, I don't know, for me, I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm on social media a lot. Like, you're competing. We've never been more distracted. And the next generation, like I've got a brother that's 10 years younger than me. He doesn't watch TV. But influences. He's influenced by these people. So if you can get an SC Hellos or an Olan Tekers or Joe that can convert my brother who doesn't like football, I don't know how, but if you can get him, if you can convert him into being an Apia fan, then that's a win for the game. And I think these clubs are realising that, and they are doing that. And that's a.
But I think this is a moment. This is like the tipping point of championships coming up. Like, let's do it now, because there's going to be more media than ever than these clubs have had and since the NSL days. There are going to be more people involved in it. Yeah, promotions.
It's literally like a once in a lifetime opportunity for football.
It really is. I'm so excited. I'm so excited that we've got it off the ground, like that it's happening. Because as you said, it would look like maybe nothing was going to happen, which would have been a disaster. And I'm excited, as you said, like these clubs are so rich in history. It's about like you did St George FC and Apia. Even teams like St George, that's a team that sent I think 5 Socceroos to our first ever World Cup. A lot of people wouldn't even know that. Won
the NSL back in 1983.
That's what football is. So that's what puts football out from the rest.
If you're on a pub quiz or like mastermind, would your Australian knowledge be off the chart for football?
I'll be. Count me in, boys. Count me in.
Any questions off the top of your head?
None.
Any questions from off the top of your head? Let's test them.
No, I'm not even going to test him. I know he's all over it.
Who won the NSL in 1988?
1988. Oh man,
I was born then.
That's a tough one.
Well, I know Apia won it in 87. So who was after that? I'm going to say it was United. I'm going to say Sydney United.
Sydney? No, they never won it. I don't think they ever won it. I don't think they ever won the NSL.
Wow.
Yeah. Unless I've got that wrong, I'm pretty sure they never won it.
Oh,
Marconi. Why not? We go Marconi.
NSL 1988.
Who?
Apia won it in 87.
Could have been.
Apia won it in 87, and I want Marconi.
I went Marconi. Yeah.
I was right at 1989. Scumbags.
I don't know. Honestly, I only knew that fact about St George because I looked it up the other day.
I think St George was like 60s and 70s.
Yeah, St George were like the early period.
The
Sydney Ecole won like the
first
first 3.
NSL grand final for both teams was Marconi Fairfield.
Yeah, that's Marconi. Yep.
Is that it? This is champions Marconi Fairfield.
Okay.
Premiers was Wollongong City.
Okay.
There you go.
Well done.
And relegated
What a
Brunswick,
guess,
Juventus, and Brisbane Lions.
Brunswick, Juventus.
Oh man.
We've obviously touched on a lot of Adamo stuff already, but is there anything in that sheet that you've not mentioned? Guys, his bag of tricks.
Yeah.
He's got a run sheet and a half over there.
Mate,
as well. Yeah, he's a-
Literally, mate. But then the thing is, I've got so many bits of paper that I confuse myself. You know what I mean? Look, it was obviously just what kind of same question we asked you in terms of what brought your love of the game to the fore, because obviously you've had some great opportunities, particularly working with Up to Sport and football's. Yeah, it's brought you a lot. So like, just kind of how that started for you and how you ended up going down the path you've gone down with it.
My love started through my dad.
Yep.
So my dad migrated from Italy to Australia in the 70s. And my earliest football memories are watching tournaments with him. You know, he'd sit me on the couch and give me lectures about like the great Napoli teams of, you know, the 80s. And that's where my love of football spurned. And then as I got older, a lot of my mates, you know, like most Australian football, they were all Premier League fans, like a lot of like general football fans. I was lucky enough to like go to school with a lot of football fans as well, and that was always my like number one passion. Like I love rugby league, I like AFL, I like all sports, but my number one passion was always football. And when I was deciding what I wanted to do as I finished high school, I was like, well, I talk a lot of shit, like I could talk, and like I used to like writing, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be a journalist. So I did that at UNSW. I got into UNSW, and I got 2 weeks into my degree, and I absolutely hated it. I'm like, no one likes a journalist. Let's be real. Like those investigative journalists that go to, you know, war-torn countries and do awesome work, like that's mad. But those scummy ones that
Guys
are like,
do the 3-2-1s.
yeah, not the volunteer. I'm talking about the ones that, you know, those ones that are like commenting on people's, oh, this guy was caught drinking at like the Coogee Bay Hotel. I'm like, that just like repulsed me from it.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then, you know, I did my degree, which I did it at UNSW, which isn't known for being media. It wasn't a very practical degree, let me put it that way. But then towards the end of it, and that just goes to show you how much media's evolved and stuff, there was a presenting course. And the person teaching it was an old school media head, didn't even know much about it. Like, oh yeah, this is a camera, and we use some editing thing. It's called Adobe something. Like, they knew nothing about it. But I remember thinking like, wow, this is really cool. Like, I like that. I like that kind of storytelling, you know, piecing up a piece from start to finish, ideation, you know, presenting it as well, and then also post. I really enjoyed that, but I didn't know what my avenue into, you know, media would be. And then I had a bit of a unique introduction. 7 of my friends, we made a group, like a page on Instagram. We used to make videos, like funny videos. So, like,
I remember.
Do you remember Bra? Like, so yeah, that's how we
What was it
started.
called?
Bra Official was the call. We used to make like comedy videos. There was 7 of us. Claudio was one of them, and you know, we just made funny videos, and that was great because that gave me my like comfort in front of camera. And also,
Is it still on Instagram?
still on Instagram, bro. I'll show you some videos when we're done. There's
It's funny. I remember that.
and we did quite well, and you know, we fluked it, and that gave me my like comfort in front of camera. It also let me be quite, you know, theatrical and stuff. And then whilst we were doing that, Claude's had another page called Sportly, which was a football focused page, and him and I had always spoke about doing stuff like football stuff. We kind of transitioned into that, and then my opportunity, you know, we made like shows and stuff, and like for Instagram and for YouTube, and then our big break came during COVID, where beIN Sports, like most media companies, had all this dead TV space, and they said, well, football's been stopped. And for, you know, while football was stopped, it was about a month with no football. What are we going to do? And we're like, well, what's your main league? They're like, La Liga. Like, we will simulate the entire league on FIFA and cover it as if it's real. Like almost like, you know, like the match of the day, you know, where they like go around the ground. There's been a goal here at Leganés, but it was all simulated. And they saw, I'd love to find it. Like we did, it was so ridiculous, but it was so creative as well. And we simulated the rest of La Liga season on FIFA, you know, properly, like commentating games, gone crazy as if we're like at a sideline. It's all been simulated. And beIN Sports saw that and they were like, wow, this is fantastic. Like, look what you guys did with fake football. I'd love to see what you do with real football. We ended up getting a show, like a weekly magazine show on there, which we did for a couple of years. And then that led to an opportunity for me with SBS, where I got to go to Doha, which was
ridiculous,
insane.
You still with it, SBS?
No, so I only freelanced for them for the World Cup, and then came back, and I was like, I need something, you know, full time, because I would contract
Yeah.
But then I'd go and like work at a coffee shop, or I worked at Ultra Football.
Yeah.
And I was there slaving. And then I started doing NPL commentary as well. And I was slaving away on a coffee machine. Man, that's tough work. You know, like stinking like coffee, making Adamo all day. And I was like, I need like something full time. And I reached out to someone at Optus Sport who gave me a gig there, and I started contracting, and that's
How long were you at Optus for?
2.5 years.
Okay, that's not
So
bad.
I was contracting for about a year and a bit, and then I was up full time for about a year.
So
and a half.
what's the crack now? What's the plan?
Don't know, to be honest. Like, it's still quite, you know,
Fresh,
fresh.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm gonna I'll see what's out there, start emailing. You know, it's a grind where you're like, I've had it so good. Like Joe touched on before, you know, football is so niche. I was so lucky to have a full-time job in football
With your mates?
Yeah, which with an awesome bunch of, there wasn't one bad egg at Optus Sport. Like, I loved it, you know. And
Esteban,
he was the best,
Ah.
and like and I was given creative freedom as well. I wasn't micromanaged. Like, if I said, hey, I want to do a piece, you know, this piece here, they'd be like, yeah, go for it. Or I want to do, like, I had my own, like a vodka style show there that I would produce. Like, they gave me a lot of creative freedom as well. So
man.
it was really like, I was very fortunate to have that. And now I think the goal for me ultimately has always been, I'd love to work overseas.
Yeah.
Not
okay.
permanently, but like, I want to do a stint there. I think if I don't do that, that'll always be the regret.
Yeah, you would do.
You know,
yeah.
it'll always be the regret of like, I wish I did that. So this has kind of almost sped that up for me, and maybe just said like, hey, you're really comfortable. It's pulled the rug out from underneath me.
Yeah,
you know,
let's go try.
So maybe that's the positive.
Question
to come out
for
of
you:
this.
You've done a few big interviews.
Yes.
Done Jimmy Vardy, didn't you?
Did Jamie Vardy?
Who's the biggest?
So I did Rio Ferdinand. I did Alan Shearer as well. I've done Robert Pires. I did Dominic Szoboszlai. That was
nice.
yeah, that was big. Like, in terms of current players, Szoboszlai would be the biggest. I got a funny story about the first one I did. So the first one was while I was at Bein, and El Clasico was their big game. Yeah, big game. They would always go all out for El Clasico. So they like to, Claude and I hosted the show. They're like, Claude, Adamo, you've got Arsene Wenger and you've got Ruud Gullit. I'm like, oh, I'll take Ruud Gullit because, you know, it's played AC Milan. I grew up on stories of AC Milan. I was like, yeah, I'll take Arsene Wenger. I'm so excited. Like, this is my biggest interview by a fucking mile. I've never done anything like it. I'm so excited to make a good impression. They're like, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, I'm going to get there at 8:20. I'm going to be on that Zoom call, you know, make a good impression with Ruud. Yeah, get on there, everything's working. Get on the call. Ruud's already in there. Huh? Weird. Anyway, I get in there, and Ruud's like, oh, finally. I'm like, what? Someone at Bein, like, not in our Bein, like someone at, like the person that was looking after him told him like 7:30. So the poor guy's been waiting on the call for 50 minutes. And he's like sitting in it looked like his office, like an absolute boss. I think he just played like 18 holes of golf. Like, he looked like a, you know, proper like man cave. And he's just sitting there, and he was filthy, as he would be. He's been waiting 50 minutes.
50
Here
minutes.
I am thinking I'm making the best first impression. I'm 40 minutes early. I'm just going to be waiting. And I'm just like thrust into it. And I'm like, oh, shit, okay, let's go. And we do the interview. And he was like, you know, I could tell at the start he was a little bit prickly. He was a little bit pissed off.
raging, man.
Yeah, he's raging, as he would be. He's been waiting there for 50 minutes. And like, he had no one with him. So it was literally just him, just waiting there.
Just sitting in a room waiting.
Yeah,
for
just
Adamo.
sitting in a room waiting for me. I had no idea. So I'm like,
Adamo.
I'm like, I was nervous as shit. But then also, like, because of that, it was good because I didn't have any time to think. I literally got thrust into it. First couple questions, he gave me nothing, like real prickly. You know, I feel like one of my skills is like, I'm not like a proper investigative journalist. Like, I like a light-hearted chats. I feel like I can get the best out of most.
Yeah.
We start having these chats. Anyway, then he just goes, he just flipped the switch. He's like, Australia. Yeah. He's like, man, I don't understand those people that would like to surf. He's like, you guys have the biggest sharks and snakes and craziest animals. Why would people want to surf? And I'm like, well, I actually don't surf. Like, I'm terrible. I only learned how to swim when I was 12. I'm like, and we ended up having this like 20-minute chat in the interview about wildlife in Australia, and that completely like loosened him up. And then he was fantastic after that. But yeah, that was my first big one.
Yeah.
So how was Vardy and Pires? What was like all brand new sound?
Pires, absolute legend.
Oh, was he? Aye.
You know, a lot of the time, so the way these ones will work when we do them remote is that Premier League Productions looks after them, and they almost like a conveyor belt. These guys, they put them up, they'll just message all the broadcasters, hey, Robert Pires is available for a 20-minute slot. Do you want him? And you put in for it, you pitch what our show was, takes from the terrace, it's a light-hearted vodcast show, we're going to talk about his career. Yeah, sweet. But these guys, they sit there. So they'll sit in a chair and just do one interview after the other.
Oh, really?
Like one after, they'll have like Vietnamese TV, then they'll
if you get
have
them at
Chinese.
number 20, they're like,
Yeah,
fucking
thankfully
hell.
for us, after a couple, the Premier League realised like so I'll give you an example. We did Dominic Szoboszlai at 1:40 in the morning.
Oh, did you?
We did because that was the only time Liverpool could do it. Pires was a little bit earlier. It was like 10 o'clock, but they put us on first. And yeah, on Zoom, so it's hard to read people. Like,
Zoom's horrible.
You know, they've got like 10 producers there.
Just speak to him in French.
I wish. Oh, but I didn't need to because he's like, where are you from? Australia. And you're like, I went to Australia. And I'm like, yeah, I remember because France, I don't know if you remember, in 2001 had a very unfriendly friendly against Australia where there was like an all-in brawl. Kevin Muscat absolutely two-footed someone. And he was just like, he was a menace all game.
Checks out,
and
yeah.
Pyrrhus was like, man, there was one guy. He kept hacking me. What's his name? Muscat. Ah! And then all the English producers knew Kevin Muscat from his time. They were like, oh yeah, Muscat. Yeah, like, so that just broke the ice with him, and that was the best chat like ever.
Brilliant, man.
I've only ever had one bad chat. I got to see this one here. Schmeichel.
What, Peter
Yeah.
Schmeichel?
Disaster.
All right.
Disaster.
What,
So,
right?
you can tell from Peter Schmeichel's like, you know, he's an interesting kind of, he's an interesting cat, and obviously like Peter Schmeichel's one of the greats of all time. So, yeah, if you see, he's walked the walk, he's talked the talk, and he carries himself. He's got like a bit of like a...
He's arrogant.
Yeah, you said it. Yeah, exactly. He's arrogant.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, I don't know if Peter's...
Was this Zoom?
This was Zoom again. So mind you, if we were talking like this, he would not have misunderstood what I was saying.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck. Okay, here we go.
So, but we're on Zoom. So, mind you now, then I found a backstory as well. So anyway, Peter Schmeichel, now the show that we had, it was lighthearted. So, you know, we told some great stories, but then we told some lighthearted ones. So I thought, Peter Schmeichel, I have to ask him about when Gary Neville blanked him. Remember the thing where he goes to Gary Neville and Gary Neville blanks him? Yeah. So to be fair, it's going really well at the start with Schmeichel. Interview like, hey Schmeichel, you know, first thing I want to know is 1999, you win the treble. Who was the MVP off the field? He goes, well, I don't want to reveal the dressing room, but let me just tell you this. I don't remember anything. Great answer. You know, so he didn't tell me much, but he gave me a great answer. Everything's going well. Then I say, very famous moment, the tunnel with Gary Neville. When he brushed you, now you played in a pre-VAR era. When you were maybe, you know, lining up against him in the corner, did you ever just want to give him like just a little nudge, you know, payback for blanking me? He just goes, did you ever watch me play? I go, yeah, of course. He goes, huh. Well, you're insinuating I'm a dirty player. And I'm like, what? I'm like mortified. I'm like, nah, that's not what I was saying at all. I was just like a tongue-in-cheek joke, like, did you want to get him back? You know, come on, because you know, he put you on the gronk in front of the whole world. He just took it the wrong way. And I was like, huh. Fair play to him though. It's not like he just said that and paused. Otherwise we would have probably have to just call the interview off. To be fair to him, he kept going. He's like, if you actually watch the video, you would see that I was just telling him that United were lined up on the wrong side of the tunnel. So I was just telling them to move. And then we keep doing the interview and like, I kind of know that like, I'm like, this is going, you know, haywire. We had a karaoke question in there as well. Like, cause I heard that he's a guitar player and his son has a set of vocals. He's a singer. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know, you and your son go, Denmark enter you in Eurovision. What's one song you would play? I don't watch Eurovision.
You don't have to watch it, you just participate.
Then we played like Winner Stays On Goalkeeper Edition, you know, like Manuel Neuer or blah, blah. And like Manuel Neuer or Gianluigi Buffon. And then he's like, oh, I can't answer that. I'm like, this is just been a train wreck. Interview finishes. I turn to my producer, my boss. I'm like, that was a train wreck. Like, I've never experienced anything like that. You know, this guy who's seen it all, he's worked, you know, A-League, he's covered other sports. He's like, man, it happens. You know, welcome to the industry almost. Like, this happens. I then get a message from the Premier League Productions. Hey, Adamo, man, you might have noticed that there was a little bit of a frosty moment that we've just cut out. Peter actually made a note to us pre-thing, no mention of the Gary Neville incident. Oh. So he's obviously thought. So what we would do is we'd send them our questions, but I'd keep these questions nice and vague because, like, I come up with my best questions the night before. You know, I'm a bit of a last minute. I was like that when I was studying. Either. You know, like some days, like right before the interview, I'm like, I've got to ask him that. So I would keep the questions vague. We're going to talk about his United career. We're going to talk about leaving United. A bit about his national team career and life after football. So they've obviously just gone, Peter doesn't want him to talk about Gary Neville. They've looked at my questions and gone, well, there's no Gary Neville here, it'll be sweet. So then he's obviously first one gone, this cheeky fuck has asked me about the one thing that I didn't want to
ask. I wonder why I
ask.
didn't want to speak about it, but it's not like it's a big deal, is it?
Well, that's what I mean. It's not like
But then surely as well, though, they should tell you specifically.
You would think so.
So, guys,
look, I wore that as like, hey guys, in future I'll be more specific with my questions. Like I wore that, my fault. But I was like, these guys, and then you know what the funny thing is? So they send it to think that part has been cut out. And then there were frosty parts that were in there as well that we cut out as well. But then the best and worst part was that you watch the interview, you wouldn't even be able to tell.
No.
Like you'd be able to tell. It just looks like a normal interview.
Yeah, it's good that.
Interesting insight. Just be mindful of time.
I know. That's what I was just.
We're in a Fergie time here.
Yeah, we are. We've been on. Just, it's been a good conversation. Though. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
I got predictions.
So we've got predictions every week. Yeah. So we go 4 games from each competition. Oh, sorry. I'm going to ask one more question.
Okay.
Favourite? Oh no, I don't know if I can ask that. It's a wee bit of stitch you up. Favourite NPL team. I'm going to ask you your favourite Italian team.
As in it, like
no, as in NPL.
Oh, in NPL, like I've got a soft spot for Apia purely because, as I mentioned before, my dad
close.
grew up in that region, so I feel a connection to them. So Apia would be my Italian team.
I don't know. I don't have an allegiance to any team really, but I do like St George FC this season in particular.
Okay.
I like that they're on the up.
Yep.
Second year back
They
up.
did very well this year.
Yeah.
Very well. They're looking the part.
I like seeing the historic teams come back up as well.
Yeah, I love how obviously you have clued up you are with all the old football stuff, man. It's brilliant.
No, there's some big clubs floating around the lower leagues as well. Like I mean, Bonnyrigg are down and probably
of course,
all the way down now, but
massive.
Like, even Parramatta as well. Like there's some massive
Fraser
ones
Park.
down there.
Fraser Park.
Fraser Park.
Yeah.
Even Bankstown City, a big club as well.
Yeah.
Big year next year.
Big year next year.
Big year.
Big year next year.
Okay, let's do predictions. Let's go.
Right, Western Sydney Wanderers at home to Apia.
Apia.
Yeah, up, yeah. Yep.
I'm commentating that game. 1 o'clock on a Saturday. Interesting time.
Aye,
Really
aye,
interesting
aye.
time.
Why-
That's quite a nice time.
It's a beautiful time for me.
Yeah,
I'm
for
gonna
you,
be
it's
out. I'll be home for dinner. It'll be
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's nice.
Very entertaining game. I'm going to put it that way. I'm commentating. I can't give a prediction. It'll be very entertaining, and you'll get your money.
Just tell him he's going to pick one. He's just already answered the question before.
Apia. Central Coast Mariners at home to Southall.
Oh,
That's
that's
a good
great
game. That's a really good game. I'm going to say draw.
Draw. I'm going Southall.
Yeah, I'm on Sabo as well. Yep.
I'm going to say Southo.
Blacktown City at home to Rockdale.
What a game.
I'm going to go Rockdale. A hard game that, but fuck. It's a
Who's
big
at home?
game.
Blacktown?
Blacktown, that'd be a tough game.
Jack O'Brien's fancying it just now. I'm going to go draw.
Blacktown
Yeah, I
on
was
form.
going to go draw as well for that.
I'm
Yeah.
going to say Rockdale.
Rockdale, nick it.
What game are you doing at the weekend?
I'm doing Sydney United, Marconi.
Oh, for the next one.
Yeah.
So you've went draw and you've went Rockdale.
I'm in Rockdale.
Marconi, Sydney United.
What a game.
Is that at the Palace?
At the Palace. I'm going to go Sydney United.
I'm going to go Marconi because Sydney United keep getting dragged into extra time tonight.
Extra time tonight, yeah.
That's true, yeah. I'll go draw. 1-1 draw, yeah.
I'm going to say Marconi.
I'd fucking love 2 draws the Rockdale game. Marconi, that'd be magic.
Be great for you.
Right, NPL 2. Big game, by the way. Mounties at home to Dully.
I bought my league table. I'm going to go Dully.
I'm going to go draw.
I'll go Dully. I might be moving out that way soon, so
Oh, really?
it might be the new local club.
Yeah, and some new friends in the area. Where do you live just now?
I'm like 200 metres from Hakoa. I'm in the East
Oh,
Gardens.
okay, I do.
Nice.
You're in East Gardens.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. I'm in Kingsford.
Oh, really?
Very close.
cheeky.
Wait,
Yeah.
you must be over there too.
Could you?
Could you?
Oh, we should have carpooled, lads.
100%. Save some money on tolls as well.
Who are you going for,
I'm
mate?
going to go Mounties.
Mounties. And yeah, okay. Rams at home to Tigers.
Oh, draw. I'm going to draw.
Draw.
Back old Timmy boy, you get a draw.
I'm going to go Rams.
I'll go Tigers.
Again, I'm just going for the midweek game as well. Cup final
Yeah, I'm
tonight.
going to say midweek game. I'm going to go draw.
Imagine they win, get on the sauce tonight, absolutely wrecked.
Get
all
absolutely
weekend.
obliterated, yep.
And then they go out and win. They'll do it every week.
Aye.
Big game. Jets at home to Bulls.
Jets.
I'm going Jets as well.
Jets just beat Tigers last week, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes, they
Yeah.
too.
It's a big game as well.
That is a big game.
So Bulls are second.
Yeah.
Jets are...
Fifth, but the deducted 3 points, they should be sitting joint third,
Yeah,
joint second,
wow.
whatever it is.
Oh, it's tough. You know what? I'm going to, just because I'm putting my UNSW hat on here, I'm going to say draw. Draw's
Draw.
a great result for you guys.
Yeah.
Aye,
delighted
boys,
with that,
Draws kill MD, he don't want draws.
Yeah, we've had fucking 8 of them or something.
Aye, draws ruin you, man.
And I'll go Bulls. I'll
You
go
go
Bulls on that
Bulls.
one, yeah.
And then Spartans at home to Hakoa.
Spartans.
Spartans. Home. I'm going to go Hakoa.
I'll go Spartans on that one.
I'm going to say Hakoa as well.
Right, NPL 3. Fraser Park at home to Hurstville. Zagreb.
Oh, Zagreb.
Zagreb,
yeah.
Yeah, Zagreb.
Nepean at home to Granville Rage.
Draw.
Draw.
In the pen?
Yeah.
Tough away trip.
Yeah, a horrible place to go, man.
You'd hate to be a goalkeeper in that age. A lot of
It's
abuse.
horrible, man. Horrible place to go. Do you know we had to play there on a Tuesday night at 8 p.m. last year. Disgusting,
Get
man.
home at 1 a.m.
2 in the
Wired
morning,
as
man.
well.
Come at 1
Yeah.
o'clock, interview Perez.
Perfect timing, I know. I'm going to say Napim.
In the PM.
I'll go Granville. Why not?
Rage. Sydney Uni at home to Bankstown United.
Bankstown United.
I'm going to go Sydney Uni.
We'll go draw.
Draw.
I'm going to say Bankstown United.
Oh, yeah. And lastly, South Coast Flames at home to Central Coast United. It's a fucking big journey, that, isn't it?
Oh, it is a trek, aye. South Coast.
I'm South Coast as well.
Yeah, I'll go. They're the home team, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
South
I'll
Coast.
take that, yeah.
4 home wins. Gents, thank you very much for coming on, man.
Thanks
thank
for
you so much
pushing
for
us.
having me.
And all the
Yeah,
best.
appreciate
That's
it.
been
Been a
great.
blast.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, good episode, man. Yeah. Thanks for having me. What was that guy's name you said? The gaffer was the one.
Oh, Danny.